Hey guys, welcome to the Size Up. It's me, Faith, and I
Me,
got
Wendy.
Wendy. Yes, got Wendy with me. Waiting on Heather to come in. We got a special guest today. Terrance Wilson is coming in, and we're going to be talking about building generational wealth. So we're going to talk about some things as far as finances are concerned, building credit, cryptocurrency, investing. We're going to talk about those things today. So if you are joining in with us today and you want to take some notes, feel free. Get a notepad, get a pen, get going, write some things down, jot them down. Um, and we're going to give his information for those of you who want to utilize his services because his business is all about helping us build. So I'm super excited about having him on the show today. Um, we're going to kick it off with our good news story of the day. And I actually posted this on our page. Tabitha Green, not Green, Brown. Lord Jesus, I said Green. Tabitha Brown, who is a vegan influencer who has built her following, and she built a pretty big following on TikTok. I actually saw something of her the other day when she and her son made a snack with the grapes, so it would taste like the Jolly Rancher, the sour apple Jolly Rancher. It was so good. So they took some lime and they sprinkled the squeezed the lime over the grape, over a green grape. I promise you it was good though, because I tried it over green grape and mixed it in together. And when they picked it up and tasted it, it tastes just like a green Jolly Rancher. So she's showing different tricks and different techniques to get your kids to eat vegetables and fruit and that sort of thing. It's really, really cool. But Tabitha has her own show on Ellen's network. I didn't even know Ellen had a network. Let me start there. Didn't know Ellen had a network. Maybe Ellen about to do a Oprah Winfrey on us. I'm not sure, but she will be on Ellen Digital Network, a digital media platform operated by Ellen Digital Ventures, a collaboration between television personality Ellen DeGeneres and Warner Brothers Digital Network. The new All Love web show, which is slated for release on EDN's 2020 programming schedule, will feature Brown's advice on cooking, parenting, social media, and self-care. So in 2017, and we kind of talked about her story before now, but I just want to give everybody a background. 2017, Ms. Brown, Tabitha Brown, decided to go vegan after watching the documentary What the Health to combat her struggles with like chronic pain. In 2018, she became a viral sensation because she was posting things that she was eating. So
Okay.
um, she started doing that and started talking about the different vegan dishes that she was eating. Of course, she learned how to cook. Her Facebook blew up, her Twitter blew up, her Instagram blew up, and then eventually TikTok. And her TikTok blew up fairly quickly. And we talked about that a few episodes back about that. So now she is going to be on Ellen's network. So shout out to her. I'm glad that her hard work is paying off. She's continuing to grow. And so shout out to Tabitha Brown. Um, One other thing that I wanted to mention, and I got to figure out how to get these videos that we've recorded. And we're still recording videos, but Father's Day, we did the Father's Day interviews and posted them online. I got a couple more to post. Hopefully today they'll be posted. But we've been interviewing fathers and talking to them about being a father and getting their information put out there for them. And it's been tremendous. We've gotten great responses for it. Black fathers do matter. So I definitely wanted to make sure that we definitely did our part in highlighting Black fathers and highlighting fathers in general, because of course there's been a complaint across the board that we don't normally celebrate fathers widely. And so we wanted to do our part at the Size Up in doing that. So make sure you guys are going to the page and checking out the videos. Hopefully they'll be up on our YouTube page. Hopefully before the end of the week, we're going to figure it out because we've been conducting interviews separately and not together. So I shout out to the men that were able to participate and have these conversations with us. We're so glad and so happy that you guys were able to participate in that. So that's good. I'm super excited about that. So I wanted to make a choice between what we were going to talk about for our reality. It's not really a whole lot going. Is anything going on? Nothing going on. Waiting on the Housewives of Potomac to come on. You finished watching The Circle. Heather ain't on here to talk about The Circle. At least not yet. Let me see here. And then Insecure. Heather was supposed to be watching that, and you haven't watched Cooked with Cannabis at all. So hopefully, where?
I'm like, I can't. I just can't.
Why not?
It's not that I don't want to. It's just it's so much in a day.
Oh, I got you. I understand.
And I'm like, Lord Jesus.
I mean, and I do a couple of episodes at a time. Hey, Heather. Oh, you back out on the patio. Yeah. Heather is with us.
What's that on your chest? Is that a microphone?
Is that a microphone? Can you hear us? Oh Lord, our technical. What you say, Wendy? Here. I'll think about it. Go. All right. Wendy, you are. Can you hear me?
She's on mute.
I don't know if she's on mute or not.
No, she's mute.
Huh?
She's on mute.
She muted herself. She did. She muted herself. We're gonna keep talking till she chime in. So I did know what we were going to talk about. I do know that Eva from Real Housewives of Atlanta is not coming back.
Right.
She made that announcement and said she will not be back on Real Housewives.
Well, there were questions is it that she's not coming back or she didn't get a contract
to come back.
Right. Yeah. But I was listening to Radio Andy on Sirius, and he said that she just didn't want to come back. So just to clear that rumor up, she did not get the axe. She decided not to come back.
Okay, which is fair. I didn't think that Eva would have been fired. When the things that she did, the things she was involved in, pretty juicy. I got tired of her storyline, however, because I mean, I'm sick of hearing about the donor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of hearing about him. But yeah, that was just something that I was tired of hearing over and over again. It was interesting to see the process that she went through as far as Michael becoming her Marley's dad, adopted father on paper. So that's good. And I think that's good because her dad, 1 week claims her and the next week don't. And the interesting thing about this is that I don't understand how people feel like they can do things, and things are on the internet, stories are out there, the media's out there, and then when the kids get to reading and researching, she's gonna know. So yeah, I don't get how you think you could do anything in this time on the internet and people not find out, and your child will be able to go back and Google your crazy behind and see that you wasn't a part of whatever in my life. Okay, no, we can't at all. So So yeah. So I feel like uh she will be missed, I guess. I don't know. She did say that she loved everybody she worked with, which was good. Um, but and she kind of took the highway out as far as that was concerned. Except I know she and Nene been going back and forth and beefing, going back and forth and beefing. So you okay, Wendy?
Girl, go ahead. I'm just watching this video. It will make you sick to your stomach.
Oh, okay. Don't want to see that.
No, I'm talking about it's this white police guy on top of a 14-year-old girl, and he's punching the mess out of her. It is just sickening.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
gonna
that's
see.
what's been going on. That's what they've been doing for so very, very long. Um,
I just shared it on our group page.
okay. We're trying to get Heather in.
Can you hear us, Heather? Heather Bell.
She can hear us. We just can't hear her.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Now, what were you saying? It seemed like you were saying something.
Oh, I don't even know. Probably about Eva. So here's the thing. This is what I do because I be coming in on the last minute on stuff.
Right.
Let's tell y'all about the whole housewives thing. I think people who have real lives don't last long on those housewives shows.
Right.
I think it's too much strain on them to try to create the drama that those shows need and to constantly stay with the drama.
Right.
And I think that the only storyline that she was probably willing to speak on was, the domestic violence and the baby being adopted by her husband. I think those, like if it were me, you wouldn't be able to come up in my house and know everything about me because I'm a private person. And so people who are private persons don't last long on those shows because they
why get on the show? That's my thing.
probably for the couple of, I think a lot of times people don't realize how invasive it's going to be. I think they understand there's going to be a few hours of filming here and there. And I think at the beginning, they think they have autonomy as far as, I get to tell you what storylines are going to be off limits and everything. And they probably sell them that on that a lot of times. But then when they realize that, oh, this sounds good, let's keep talking about it, then those people end up, saying, okay, well, I really didn't want to keep, talking about this. And that's where they end up not renewing contracts and everything.
Here's my thing, because we've seen this play out over and over and over again. This ain't she's not the first person to say, you know what, I got a real life in real life, and I ain't got time to be bickering and da da da. But she's not the first person to do it. So I don't know if in your mind you think things are going to change because and if you don't own the show, there is no way. No way on God's
You don't have that much creative control.
Right. You have no creative control over how they're going to spin it, whatever drama they got. You don't have control over that. So why put yourself in a position to where you feel like I can come in and like I've seen this too many times. I mean, not even before Real Housewives. Nick and what's that girl named Jessica? Nick Lachey and Jessica. That's why they broke up.
Well, yeah, but see, and then the other thing is you never know what production and the editing crew is going to decide is going to be the theme of that season until you see it. You get what I'm saying? Like they may have thought this was like a very small portion of it until they do like their post-production interviews and everything. And then they start realizing, oh, this is the angle that we're going in, because a lot of times those people don't get to see the finished product until stuff starts airing, or maybe a couple of, a little bit before, just to do the press kits and everything, start to talk about the new season coming up. So you have no idea, what angle they've decided that they're going to go in. But yeah, I mean, I think that people like that who think, okay, well, this would be a good amount of exposure, I'll just do this for a minute. They think that it's going to be pretty simple, but they don't realize, maybe they see that, ooh, we can make you the villain of this year. And so you end up with those types of things that happen where everybody's like, you know what? I ain't doing this no more. I'm out. And then other people like it. A lot of people, other people like to be the villain online
Right.
or on a show. So I think that, you know, at some point, people who, like I said, they have a different idea on things. They have a different, I don't want y'all seeing my neighbor's fence. They have a different idea on the way that they should be portrayed, or you know what they thought was the situation of the season. I think once they kind of get an idea of this is where it's going, and y'all getting ready to try to turn me into somebody I'm not, then they say, "Nah, I'm good." You know, nah, bro. Thank you very much, but no.
I guess, girl.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's no way on God's green earth. Either I'm gonna have control over it or I'm not, and I should know at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense to me. That's all.
Yeah, and I don't know if y'all touched on this before because you know my sound was not participating. Um, I didn't like the reunion show. As far as I see that they are getting way more catty
Oh yeah.
than their pay grade is, you know, is paying it. Like, here's the thing: I like watching some of those super ultra rich women because their arguments are way different from like you
Right.
know middle of the road. Like you can tell the level of wealth these people have
Yeah.
depending
Oh
on the
yeah.
type of
But you know
argument
what?
they
I'm sorry, but when Portia told Eva her titties were social distancing,
Baby, I cried. I
was
fell up off that couch.
I was
I
out.
promise to God I fell off the couch.
I was like this. I was like,
she was wrong for that. And you know the thing about it, I'm like Portia ain't got no room to talk about nobody being that she just went and got some silicone to fill hers up. She need a hush.
Right, right.
Now that's the thing that I have an issue with. Like y'all, we can't be talking about people's bodies when y'all going tinkering on stuff now.
Right, right.
No,
Well,
I think yeah, I'm done.
you sure? It seemed like you had so much more to say.
I don't know. I'm really functioning off of 3 hours of sleep, so I'm just let y'all know.
I got you. Um. So Trey Songz and Meek Mill gets into it on social media after Trey Songz called Meek Mill out to donate to charity. So let's just go here. You know how sometimes celebrities they start doing good in the neighborhood, so they want to be like, I challenge y'all to do blah blah blah. Well, Trey Songz didn't do it. Like for instance, Colin Kaepernick got people together. You know when he was donating to social change organizations and stuff. So he was like,
Right.
I'm donating this. So hey, can you match blah 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 blah? No, that was not how this post started out. It was like you look, you ain't doing blah 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 in the neighborhood, ABCDFG. Which, if Trey Songz only read, Meek Mill has been doing a lot as far as prison reform is concerned. You know,
Yeah.
things that affect him and his community in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
He has. I started watching Free Meek Mill, and then I got sidetracked with something else, and I'm gonna finish watching it again. But Meek Mill went on over to the left side and kind of started roasting old Trey Songz about this giving back. And,
Goodness.
yeah, he went in. Went in. Uh, didn't have to go in like he did, but he did. But I bet Trey Songz won't call him out no more. That's all. Sometimes a bout lesson is the best lesson. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Sometimes that's just all it takes. That's just
Right.
all it takes, boo.
So I bet he won't. I think Meek went overboard, but you know, because you decided to step up and do something and give back. And this is my thing. When you give back, I don't think it should be widely publicized all the time that I'm doing this. I volunteer in the community all the time. I work with kids,
Right.
the homeless, senior citizens. I volunteer all the time just because that's how I was raised. My mom always taught me how to give back, that sort of thing. She had us as kids serving the homeless place at Thanksgiving down at the Cook Convention Center. So, so
Right.
I've always been that person to give back. Everybody doesn't do it, but to specifically call out somebody, I can't get behind. I just can't get behind
No,
it.
you know, and some people don't want everything that they do to be publicized. You
Right.
know, for instance, we always talk about Prince and like how you found out later. People like him and people like other celebrities, you find out after they died. You know, all these things, these philanthropic things they were doing, but
Mm-hmm.
they were not doing it for uh people to, you know, like for the notoriety and anything. It was just they were doing it because it was the thing to do.
Right.
Um, and then everybody, you don't want everybody in your pockets all the time either.
No, because if you know I'm giving to this, that, and the third, you're gonna be calling me on the phone talking about, hey, I need nah, bro. What we don't need is to have this conversation. So no,
Right.
I get that. I totally completely get that. So I think that Trey was out of order and out of line for calling old Mickey out.
I think that a lot of times people overestimate their relationships with other celebrities too, and they think that it's okay for them to say and do things, and they hadn't really checked where they are in friendship with them.
Right, right. Um, so us players testing positive for COVID, and apparently the NBA is still trying to go forward with them going to play in Disney World. For
Okay,
my
then.
understanding, they start playing July the 30th. This is the plan. They're going to be televised games. I do not believe, because Disney World has said, I don't care what nobody do. Universal Studios can open up. The world can open up. We still closed. So,
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, it's only going to be players, from my understanding.
Yeah.
Maybe their family can come watch them play or whatever that situation is looking like. But for the most part, it's only supposed to be players, so they'll get to go see each other play. Because sometimes they may not be able to see one another play. They may have to catch the highlights on ESPN or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
the players have had a grave concern about this. Kyrie Irving, this child, not Dwayne Wade. What's the other one's name? They got the kids all over the planet. What's that baby's name?
Well, that's any
Dwight
of them.
Howard. There we go. They've kind of started this rally,
Mm-hmm.
so they don't have to play. They're like opting out of the season. So there are more and more players that are, because every time you turn around, somebody's testing positive for COVID-19.
Right. Yeah. And at this point, they may just want to just put it on hold and forget trying to end the season on a.
Just wait till 2021.
It's all right, y'all.
I mean,
It's
the
all
singers and the performers have pushed their concert dates back to 2021. So what's the
right.
problem? I don't think the NFL is gonna. I really don't. They're going for it as if they're about to start up a brand new season. I don't see that happening.
I
Um,
don't.
I don't
Ezekiel
see
Elliott,
how it could happen. You know what I mean?
you're gonna lose your revenue because people are not gonna come. I'm not gonna pay hundreds of dollars for an NFL game ticket, and Junebug next to me could have COVID. I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
And a lot of the cities and the states where the major football teams are, they are shut down right now.
Yeah.
Texas, Arizona, and Florida, is it? Just got
Uh
Mhm.
huh.
shut down.
They're back on punishment. So at some point, you have to just chalk things up and be okay with the fact that you may not get everything um, you want or been used to having, you know, due to whatever.
Right.
Right now, we having to deal with stuff on a day to day.
Your pause, Heather. You so silly. Heather, you have completely paused. We can't hear you or see you at all.
I see it like this.
Right. She got the pause going on.
But yeah, I just think they just need to throw the 2020 need to be thrown away.
Yeah.
Everybody need to sit their behinds down and wait until 2021.
If 2021 is gonna turn out to be something, I pray it does. But yeah.
She's gonna come back on.
Hmm. So I'm hoping that they decide to sit down. I am hearing rumors that the black NBA players are looking to start their own league. I do not know how that's going to go. Um, but yes, I do hear that they are trying to do that. I hear that. Yeah. So I don't know how that's gonna go. Oh wow. Okay. So I thought Rayshard Brooks was married. Um, there is a woman who they found out who burned down the Wendy's that Rayshard Brooks was shot and killed at. The woman confirmed to be Rayshard Brooks's girlfriend got a slap on the wrist for burning down the Wendy's where Rayshard was gunned down.
I thought he was married. You sure that
That's
was?
what I thought. But
You
now
sure
we
that
seeing the
wasn't his side
girlfriend, huh?
Sure that wasn't his side piece?
That might have been his side piece. I said girlfriend. I didn't say wife. I said girlfriend. I'm seeing side. I'm thinking side piece. They said that she said she was his girlfriend. She set the restaurant on fire June the 13th. But I don't think that she got any time. Her bond was set at $10,000, and she's been put on house arrest with the ankle monitor, and she's ordered to stay off of social media. So yeah, and she's white. That's the other thing.
Oh yeah, I knew it was a white girl. That's why I was like, hold on. Huh?
The woman that I saw that was his wife was not white.
No, it was me.
Yeah. So yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's interesting. Didn't know that that was going on. At all, period. I still haven't seen this episode where Eddie Winslow was James Brown.
I haven't started. I didn't know it came on, so now I gotta go on my screen.
I gotta go back and see. I gotta go back and see. I have to go back and see. We'll see how this works. Yeah. I gotta go back and see this episode to see how it works. Yeah, so I've been enjoying having this little conversation, but we finna have it. So, let me pull up the background story real quick on it while Heather is rejoining us.
Rejoining.
Rejoining. Gonna pull up this story.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So Friday morning I get to work and my coworkers are talking about a young lady who did a Facebook Live post saying that she was going to kill herself and her kids because she was mad because she found out that have not been able to confirm or deny that she got some kids by this guy. However, she flipped her Nissan Maxima over with two of her children in the car, the babies in the car with her.
And were they in car seats?
No, they were not in car seats. She was holding one in her arm. The other one was asleep on the seat next to her on the passenger side seat. And she was on Facebook Live for 30 minutes. I watched the live post um and saw that I didn't know that the girl had actually flipped the car over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know it. From my understanding, the kids are fine. They're stable. She's also stable, but she's since been able to post on Facebook from her phone. She's gone live from the hospital bed, and there are like
Mm-hmm.
50, 11 GoFundMe pages out there for her. Now, I do not know if the boyfriend, again, is the father of any of her children. But apparently, she found out that he was married by a post that was made by his wife, showing that they had just bought a home and started a business or whatever the situation's looking like. Um, this bothers me on so many levels. Um, right now, mentally, I don't think she's stable. I don't know why she had her phone while she was in the hospital. I don't know why mama, whoever was involved, the doctors, because at that point, if I done flipped over my car purposely, because that's what I feel like she did. I don't care what anybody says. She said she was just on Facebook Live trying to get dude's attention. Dude was asleep at his house, minding his business. Um, and she felt like he wouldn't answer her calls because he was asleep. So she wanted to get his attention by getting on Facebook Live and talking about how much it hurts and all this other stuff, and how she wanted to take her kids with her. And then your car is flipped over on the interstate. She said she accidentally dropped her phone and tried to pick it up. And when she tried to pick it up, she lost control of the car and the car flipped over. But she was driving fast. The kids were not in car seats, seat belts, nothing. Um, it's a crazy story.
Yeah.
It very well bothered me. I was bothered. Terrance is joining us. Was our main guest. Hey, Terrance, we're wrapping up our topics. So if you want to chime in, you can.
Hey, hey.
Because I got several things I want to say about
Okay,
this
well,
thing.
go ahead, Heather. Say your several things, girl, because
About
I
this
knew.
baby.
Did
Okay.
you have a list? Wait a minute. Did you write these thoughts down?
I always jot something down somewhere about something. So here's the thing. Number one, postpartum depression is a real thing.
Very real
and
thing.
A lot of our people are not being diagnosed. They're not either going to the doctor and being diagnosed, or at least reaching out. And then the other thing is that our doctors a lot of times are not seeing the signs manifest in different ways. And I can say, after having several thousand children, it does appear in different ways,
right,
for different pregnancies. So it's not all the time the same thing.
right.
That's number one. Number two, from what I was reading on her page, not only was she posting, but it was said, and of course not confirmed, but it was stated that the boyfriend also had access to the account. So he was posting things, because her friends were even saying, hey, she didn't post this because right now she don't have her phone. Corey said, like, I was just trying to get my boyfriend's attention or something like that. They were saying that it was being posted from a different location because the young lady hadn't gotten her phone.
Well, pause. Wait a minute. Before you say that, let me pause. She got on Facebook Live and said that she was trying to get her boyfriend's attention. This ain't something that was put. She on her live.
I know she got on Facebook and said that, but then also let's consider that sometimes we get coerced to say things to clear things up so that we don't have any problems after the cameras go off. So there are a lot of things that are multi-layered here that I want people to not be so judgmental about, because again, you have several young children, you got a lot going on. You find out a lot about this mate that you thought was cool with you. There are a lot of things that you're trying to process on your own and not really having the resources in order to do it, and to be in this day and age, you know, everybody is so reaction instead of responding. And so I think that, you know, before we start, you know, vilifying her, like I said, mental illness is a thing, postpartum depression is
It
a
is.
thing,
It absolutely is.
It
and
is.
you, and then postpartum depression on top of finding out you got a raggedy mate don't help. So, so you
Hold
know,
on.
all those things together, you know, may have caused those things. True enough, she may have been trying to get his attention, but I don't feel like that's always, you know, that's one of those, hey y'all, I fell and broke my ankle, don't worry about me. That, to me, that's that type of a reach out to me, that let me smooth this over before I bring any more attention to this situation than
Right.
I already have.
Right.
So for me, I think that, you know, she may need to take some time away from the children. I'm not
Yes.
saying take them away permanently, but she needs some time to take away from the children for her mental health. And
Right.
then maybe we need to reassess what's going on in her life so she can get all those things ironed out so that she can have a better future for her and those children so this doesn't happen again.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got something to say. And then I seen some posts like, how do you not know that he ain't married and stuff like that? No, I had the same kind of thing happen to me. The guy I was dating after my husband passed, we was
Mm-hmm.
together for a while, had access to his house. You know, there was no limits or anything. Didn't know anything until he moved to another state, accepted a position. And I think it was in the summertime when I found out. He was, you know, FaceTiming me, and he had said something to my son. And I noticed everything. I noticed the surroundings everywhere. And I so happened to look on his ring finger. He had a ring on his finger. I was like, what? And so, because he didn't have one, you know, he never wore one. And I'd be out in a minute. I'm married. He got white as I don't know what. And he talked about, no, I'm not married. I said, what's that ring doing on that left hand finger, that left hand ring finger? Oh, I got this in Jamaica. Also, you got married in Jamaica. No, I just bought this ring to keep the women off of me. Boo boo. Do you think I'm that much of a fool?
Right.
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 And so I have developed throughout the years a bounce back, my bounce back ability. I move on quick.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I move on real quick. My grandmom used to say, men are like buses, one come every 15 minutes. And I live by that. I dropped them. But it's more to that story, but I had to do research. And I did my research. And then when I text him, I said, how about this? You and I named his wife. Because I found out the name of his wife. And I said, y'all have a blessed life. Goodbye. And I blocked him.
Mm.
And that was it. Had thought about him since this conversation.
But you know, and that's the thing, that, you know, when people want to hide stuff, they're gonna hide it. They'll figure out a way to do it. And I think that and so that's why I was saying, I've seen a lot of mean spirited posts
Yeah, been plenty.
from people who I'm like, y'all have never been in that situation.
And
Y'all
some
have
of them
never,
have.
especially,
And some of them have. They
and
never
some of them have.
ever taken it to that extreme. But
Right. But you've done something stupid in a
if
past
they never keyed the
relationship.
car, busted windows out the car, any of the above, baby,
Ran
you
his credit or showed up at his job or something with your posse of friends
done
ready
jumped
to
on the
whoop him.
wife.
You have done all of those things, bitch. You know, I don't understand. And that's, the other thing is that we as women have to stop bashing other women, and
Oh, we
sometimes
stay doing that.
we need to be surrounding this young lady, and really, you know, somebody needs to be, you know, a circle of friends for her, because maybe her friends are toxic, and maybe she
Could
needs some
be.
other friends that can help her. You know, sometimes you just need somebody to be like, listen, I'm gonna put you in the car. I can't tell you where we're going. Give me your phone.
Right.
And let's just take some time away, because the people that are in your ear right now, they crazy too, boo. So you need somebody else with a fresh perspective to kind of bring in some other things. And again, we have to be that village that stops judging, you know. Yeah, we're gonna be in bless your heart mode, but at the same time, if we're not here to help, then we don't really need to be constantly talking about some stuff. Because I know I've done crazy stuff. Like I said, postpartum with some children. Ask me what I've done. That'll be another show. But you know, I'm like, you just everything ain't just black and white when it comes to those situations,
Right.
and
Right.
especially when you're devastated. So you know, I don't know. We're gonna continue to keep uplift that young lady.
We are, but I just wanted to talk about it because it's again, it's been a topic. She has made all of the blogs. She made the Shade Room, Lipstick Alley,
Yeah,
all of the blogs, not just the regular.
yeah.
So, yeah,
And I'm just glad that those children are okay after all that. They didn't have any car seats or anything. I was really concerned for them, but I'm just glad that everybody, you know, was able to walk away from that situation and that we didn't have a loss of life on top of the craziness.
right, right, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got Terrance here with us. We are going to be talking about building generational wealth. We're gonna start with some very basic things with it because it's a lot we can discuss and talk about with this topic. I'm gonna first of all have Terrance introduce himself. And Terrance, I think you had muted yourself, so I'm not sure if you on or not.
Yeah.
He's
Can you hear
on.
me now?
I can. Gotcha.
I unmuted. Yes. Hey. I'm so happy to be here for the third time on your show, being interviewed by you.
Thank you.
My name is Terrance Wilson. I'm a loan broker, credit repair specialist, financial literacy coach. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I lived in Memphis for 13 years, fell in love with Memphis. My fiance wanted to move to LA, so I've been living in LA going on 2 years. But we're in Memphis until the 13th of July and enjoying ourselves. And I'm just happy to be here on your show.
Thank you for being here. Well, we're gonna kick it off. First of all, I want to see. Hold on, got to give me little questions here. Okay, so I want to start off by asking, what is generational wealth?
So generational wealth is when a parent, grandparent, or relative, through their business ownership or their investments, create the opportunities for their children, grandchildren, and all those who follow after them to basically be in a position where they have wealth, where they don't have to start over from the beginning, where they have a foundation to build upon. And it's not just money or businesses and houses, insurance and things like that. It's also that knowledge of how to maintain, how to manage it, and how to allow it to grow, and to teach, successive generations how to maintain that wealth.
Gotcha. So that actually having that conversation. So I'm gonna start with this because this is something I think is really, really big in our community. We don't like to talk about money. As Black people, as a community, we don't like to talk about money and finances at all, period. This is not something that we're educating our kids about. We're not talking to them about it. So why do you think that is? Why do you think that we don't like to talk about money and, as a regular conversation?
I think there are a number of factors that play into that. I think one of the biggest is many of us don't have a lot of money. Many of us, and we think that we need a lot of money in order to teach our kids certain things about money, or to, they're shame. You want to keep up with the Joneses. You don't want your children to be ashamed of you. So you want to make sure that possibly that they have the latest clothes and things that their friends have, but you don't want to let them know, hey, we're behind on the mortgage. We got a bad mortgage, and you don't want to do the same. We made some mistakes with our credit. But that's something that has to change in order for the conditions of our community to change. And it doesn't take much to start that conversation.
Gotcha. So I'm seeing small programs pop up for young people, but generally I know they just started doing personal finance in some of the schools in Shelby County Schools. But we didn't have that when we were coming up in school. We didn't have I think maybe the closest we may have gotten to it, and it was like business related, was junior achievement in some of the elementary schools. But why do you think that is? When a student is getting ready to graduate from high school, they're getting ready to go to college. And of course, in college, they may or may not have something. If you're not a business major, you may not get any type of knowledge as far as that's concerned. So why do you think that's something that's not a part of a curriculum somewhere across the board?
I think it's because as parents, as community members, we haven't like made that suggestion or that be taught. And I think that is something that we have to take control of as a community, whether it's in our families, whether in our churches, our organizations, ensure that the children in our community that we have access to know these basics, know the power and the harm that credit of credit. Right. Showing how that you don't use credit. Many of us, we look at credit as a tool to purchase nice cars, houses, basically liabilities, but showing how credit can be used to invest, how we can invest in houses and start businesses and get loans to whereas we can buy the things that we want to have. But it's one of the things, it's scattered around. There are scattered programs, but we have to suggest and demand that these programs be, in existence.
Gotcha. So we are gonna. You mentioned credit, so I'm gonna go into that next. How important is it to have credit? Like, what is that? What is the importance behind it? Because I know a lot of older people, growing up, a lot of my grandmother used to keep money under her mattress. I'm just keeping it real. I had a professor in college. Well, when I was trying to do grad school for the 100th time, I was taking some classes at the U of M, and one of my professors was like, "I'm from New Orleans, and when Hurricane Katrina hit, I had to go get my granddaddy and go pick him up, and he had a garbage bag full of money, like $20,000 in a garbage bag." I said, "Well, where was I when you went to go pick up granddaddy? Where was I?"
Right.
But they don't trust banks. They don't believe in credit, that sort of thing. Some of that probably passed down from generation to generation, because I'm seeing there's a lot of young people who don't like credit cards and don't like to build any type of credit at all. So how important is that for us?
Credit is very important, because when you look at if you have poor credit and you purchase you get a home loan or a car loan, and you look at the difference in what you will pay over the lifetime of that loan, as opposed to if you had good credit, it can be a drastic different. Real, you can end up paying, if it's a home loan over a 30-year period, you can end up paying over $100,000 extra if you have the minimum score, the 580. If you were able to get a home with a 580 credit score, as opposed to if you had a 700 credit score, I mean, you're wasting, or you're giving the mortgage company over $100,000 in interest. That's money. That's $100,000 that could have gone into your household and to reducing debt and building wealth. It's very important. And also, if you have poor credit, it can affect you getting certain jobs. It can affect you with having access to opportunities, basically.
Gotcha. So investing, I know that's something that you've been talking about a whole lot, especially since I've met you. You've been talking about investing. First of all, what are some of the ways? Because I'm a regular person. I don't know nothing about no stock market. I'm trying to learn, but I'm not well versed in the stock market at all, period. So for a regular person like me, what are some ways that I can invest my money?
Well, the best way to invest first is to learn, to invest in education.
Okay.
Going to the library is free. Your tax dollars pay for it.
Gotcha.
Taking advantage of the free courses that are available, and of course there's YouTube University. the first thing I would tell people, instead of trying to chase the next hot stock, look at those companies that you frequent often. Let's say if you go to Kroger every week, you watch Netflix every day, you know, you're on Facebook every day, you go to YouTube and you Google. Well, you should have equity in those companies. And Cash App is one of the easiest ways to invest. You can buy $1 worth of your favorite your favorite companies for $1. Now, eventually you want to get a brokerage account, and a brokerage account is free. And especially for those, I suggest to those who are unable to open up checking accounts at regular banks because of check systems, they can actually get a brokerage account, and that brokerage account comes with a checking account attached to it. And they're not concerned with your history with check systems, but it's one of the easiest. Another thing is there's what's called the S&P 500. It's the 500 top companies in the world. Well, you can get it. There's an index fund or exchange traded fund of the S&P 500. And again, I can guarantee that almost every company that you frequent is in the S&P 500.
Okay. So getting a brokerage account or anything like that. What if somebody's afraid to probably invest, but maybe want to just do some starter type of things? What would you suggest with the starting? I just want to dip my toe in the water just a little bit, but not a whole bunch.
Cash App. I would say start with Cash App.
Okay.
You can do $1, $5, $10 into some of your favorite stocks. And that could be $1 into maybe a share stock in a company that's where the share stock is $1,000. Well, for $1, you have equity in that company. If the share of that stock increases by 10% or decreases by 10%, your $1 has done the same. So you're in the game and you're stepping your feet in the water, and it's about that habit. It's more so about the habit. It's not about the amount that you start with, but it's about developing a habit to where it's, in 5 to 10 years, you'll become an expert.
Gotcha.
I just want to jump in and say, because I got bored since Rona. I just pulled up my Cash App. I invested like $6, and I went straight to like the energy companies because they were like 32 cents at the time. And like, I got $10 right now.
Hey, look. And that's how it starts. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And that's how it starts. And think about this. If you have young children, you have children, they're into like Disney or they're into like WWE. Get them into that habit of having ownership in the companies that they like. If they like Nike, teach them a philosophy of, if you want to wear Nike shoes, you should own Nike stock.
Right.
And the same with everything else. You go to whatever grocery store you go to, if it's Costco, if it's have equity in that. To whereas when you could drive around and say, hey, that's my company. I have equity in that company. I have shares of stock in McDonald's. So not promoting one company over the other, but just saying, hey, we go to McDonald's every week. I might as well have a share of it.
Yeah. I will say also, I'm just piggybacking, just adding some things in, because I know that all of us are kind of at different levels of understanding when it comes to stocks and things of that nature. As far as, like you're saying, we should invest in things that, we're already kind of invested in on the consumer side, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to do it. What about when your companies offer you, stocks and things like that? What is the best way to maximize the funds as far as your company is concerned?
So what I would do is whatever that minimum that's required to get that match, if your company offers a match or if they offer a discount, to take advantage of it. Because I know there's so with the 401k, sometime if a certain dollar amount, they'll match it by maybe 2% or whatnot. Or if there's a company, this more so those old school type companies where they have the employee stock option plans, where you can purchase those shares of stock for like 10 to 15% or sometimes even more. I say take advantage of them. Take advantage of them.
Got you. Got you. Okay. Um. So investment groups. A lot of people may not feel comfortable doing it on their own, but they feel like maybe going in with a couple of different people or some friends or some family members or whatever. Like, how do you get involved in those investment groups?
So you find a group of individuals that you trust, that you have a bond, you have a relationship with. So of course you want to go with family, you want to go with friends. I don't suggest going in with strangers, even though things can go salty with family and friends.
It sure can.
Uh,
Woo.
go, going with friends, and before you even start putting up money, at least start learning.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, have each person take on a role to where their specialty or their job will be they'll have a certain role to play. And I'll actually send you something that I have on forming investment groups.
Okay.
But but not just focusing on, hey, we're gonna put money in and it's like we're gonna get rich overnight, because that's not going to happen. But it's more so about teaching or showing how delayed gratification and healthy habits of investing can actually change lives. And by working together as a group, you have that ability to, whereas maybe, let's say, Wendy and Heather, they have a specialty. There's something that they see in the market that they can specialize on, and they can help you, and they can help to bring you up to speed, and vice versa. Maybe something else that you can bring to the table. I mean, you know what they say, it's teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. And that's one of my goals. Is I want to help individuals form investment groups between family members and friends, and where we can create a situation where it's maybe your investment group, we come together with this investment group and this investment group, at least for the education part, to where we can build that trust, to then we can start looking at, hey, we live in this area of Memphis, Whitehaven, and this opportunity has come along. Now, as an investment group, we've built up the relationship, we have trust, and we have some capital to put into the deal. So now we can take advantage and we can purchase a home or a business that's for sale. But it's something, just knowing, having everyone know and understand that this may be a long-term process. This may take 3, 5, 10 years. But we're in this for the long run. We're here to build something for our children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, true generational wealth.
So, in generational wealth, I know you earlier you mentioned a little bit about real estate, or that was one of the ways that you can do it. My mom started doing it when I was younger. She
Know
stopped,
your
sold her
mom.
properties, yeah, sold her properties, that sort of thing, and then came back to the table, and so now she's doing it again. She's a general contractor now. So she's not only working on people's houses and stuff, but she's also going around and she's buying up houses, and she's got my brother into it now. Me, I'm trying to keep all my coins the best I can. I want to, but I also know I got to fix the house up, so I got to get capital to do that sort of thing. How can somebody get started in that who don't know where to necessarily start?
So it's best to get assistance. Tap into someone like your mother, someone who is a contractor, someone that's in your network, that's a real estate investor or a realtor.
Hmm.
Um, go read books, go to courses, take courses. You know, there's the courses that are offered on Udemy, the courses that are offered on lynda.com, and of course YouTube University. But bless you. But put a plan in place. If it's that you need to save a certain dollar amount, put a plan in place of how can you save this dollar amount in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Work on getting your credit together, because that's very important. That can basically accelerate that opportunity. You know, you get your credit fixed. Well, that cuts that time down that it will take for you to save that money. So maybe 3 months down the road, 6 months, 9 months, maybe a year, you have access to a line of credit that will allow you to do that. And also, there are some lending products. So I'm a loan broker. There are some products for real estate investors. Now, they're more so geared towards those who are experienced. So I'll say tap into, develop a relationship with someone who is experienced. But there are loan products whereas even if you have poor credit, if that property has enough equity in it, they'll actually give you the money to purchase and rehab the property.
Hmm.
Now, it'd be at a high interest rate.
Right.
That's why it's kind of geared towards more those who are experienced. So it gives you time to where it's maybe in a year, you have a year to purchase, rehab, and either sell the house or to refinance it. And
Okay.
you'll refinance it to get it at a 30-year rate. And that's perfect for if you're going to use it as a rental property.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Let's talk about cryptocurrency a little bit. That's another thing you really, really big on. I was like, okay, what is this stuff I heard of Bitcoin, but what is this other stuff you talk about? Cryptocurrency. How does it work? And how do you get into that? And then what's the value in having some cryptocurrency?
So cryptocurrency, so it all follows Bitcoin. Bitcoin is let's say, a payment system that's not created by a government or central bank.
Okay.
So in essence, it allows you as an individual to basically control money. So without seeking third-party approval. So basically, you have some Bitcoin. You could send some Bitcoin to Heather. You could send some to Wendy. You could send some to me without Chase or the government basically saying you can't send it. You're not allowed to send it.
Mm-hmm.
So there are thousands of cryptocurrencies now created after Bitcoin. Now, what it does is it's a new form of money. It's a new form of money that allows those who are unbanked to have access to banking. So there are people in third world countries who have cell phones, but they don't. The closest bank to them is over 100 miles.
Mm.
So it's not advantageous. So many of them bank within their family. So that's something that they bring when they come to America, which allows them to basically purchase homes and start businesses. They bank amongst themselves. But cryptocurrency allows us to bank amongst ourselves. With the the stimuluses that are passing, all of these, the money, the $1 trillion here, the $1 trillion here, basically what's going to happen, even though it's short, in the short term it's good. If you got a stimulus check, you got money from the SBA, whatever, it's good short term.
Mm-hmm.
But in the long run, it devalues the purchasing power of our dollar.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about what you were able to purchase 10 years ago, what you were able to purchase at the grocery store for $40 as opposed to what you get now. Or when you hear those stories of when your mother or grandmother, when they used to go to the store and they could buy all this for $1 or for a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically what happens is inflation, it diminishes the buying power of our money. Well, what cryptocurrency does, it's a deflationary tool to where it holds it holds value. So as the buying power of the American dollar or any government dollar goes down, the buying power of cryptocurrency increases.
Gotcha. Wow. So, because I have not, that's something that I know there was a group that had um it was a black group, but they were doing a little crypto trade or whatever, but it wasn't we didn't like pay any money into it, and we were trading and doing that to try to kind of get the hang of
The
it.
Coinda group.
Yes.
Coinda group. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I kind of got the principle. I still probably have to read up some more on Bitcoin because I've been interested in getting some anyway. Myself, but so business credit, that's something that back in the day, you had an EIN number and your credit was busted. It was you probably were going to be able to get a business loan or some type of line of credit or whatever. Nowadays, they're looking more so at your personal credit in order for you to get any type of assistance, a line of credit, or anything that you possibly would need for your business. So tell me how important it is to have that intact. And then if somebody probably doesn't have such a great credit situation, how could they possibly build to get business credit?
Perfect, perfect. So business credit, any entrepreneur, any business owner, any investor, I advise them to work on their business credit, to build business credit. So just as the process with personal credit, if you think about when you graduated from high school, you couldn't go straight to a dealership and purchase a car,
No.
or you couldn't go straight to a mortgage company and purchase a house. But there were, like in college, you got that first credit card. And
Right.
after you made a transaction with it and you made a payment, you were basically in the system to whereas eventually you ended up getting more credit cards. Well, it's the same with business credit. There are vendors who will, once you have your entity set up, so an LLC or S corp, or S corp set up, and you have your EIN number, and then you're in the business credit bureaus system. So that's Dun and Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian Commercial. You're in their system. Then once you get a vendor that extends credit, and you have enough of those vendors that extend credit, you get to the point to where you can go to a Lowe's or Amazon, uh, a retail vendor, and they'll extend credit to you because you built some credibility with some starter vendors. Then when you build credibility with the retail vendors, you go up to where you get build credibility with, let's say, fleet vendors. So those gas cards, you get the gas cards for your business, it's sold in your EIN. You get the services to where they can service your vehicle. Even eventually you'll be able to purchase a vehicle strictly through your EIN. And then you get to the level to where is you can get lines of credit, credit cards, and loans strictly on the credibility that was built through your business. The part that I left out was having a business bank account. That's an important aspect. Now, most of the lenders that I deal with, they require a personal guarantee. Now, what the beauty of that is, even if you're using your personal credit to guarantee a business loan, it shows up on your business credit report. Your business credit report is different from the personal credit report in that they don't look at your utilization, your mix of credit, and those other factors that are looked at with personal credit. In business credit, they just look at, hey, you pay your bills on time. Now, for one who has jacked up credit and they build up their business credit properly, there are certain credit cards that you can get because by paying your bills on time with your business credit, you establish a business credit score. With Dun and Bradstreet, that's one of the business credit bureaus. They call it a paydex score. So anything 75 or higher is a good paydex score. It's the scoring is between 1 to 100. So having a 75 is the equivalent of having a 700 in personal credit. Well, you build that credibility by you get credit from, let's say, Amazon. They extend you credit. Their credit is called a net 55. So basically, when you order something, you charge it to your account, and you have 55 days to pay it off. If you pay it off within that 55 days, it's reported as on-time payment. And if you pay it early, that's also, you get credit for that. But basically, it's by placing the orders to your credit and paying it off on time, you build that credibility. Also, you having a bank account, because most lenders, they look for 3 to 6 months of bank statements. If you have activity in your business bank account, it shows regular deposits and withdrawals, and it also shows that you have no NSFs or overdrafts. You're in good shape. So there are some, let's say, credit cards that will extend credit to your business based on you having that score. So of course you treat that properly and you pay that off on time, then you get to the point to where you can get to where you can get no PG loans. There are some lenders that do no PG loans, no personal guarantee loans, where it's strictly based off that business, profile. But it takes time to build. Just like building your personal credit, you have to build your business credit.
Gotcha.
I
Well,
have a
it
question.
sounds like it's
Oh,
like everybody going at once.
uh-uh.
What do you think about SBA loans?
Okay, so I love them. I love them. They're usually hard to get, but so I've been helping a lot of people. I've been in Memphis for about 2 weeks, and mainly I've been helping a lot of people apply for the EIDL and the PPP loan.
Mm-hmm.
And the deadline for that is 11:59 Tuesday.
What's
Night.
the difference in those two? Because I know one is for the for their payroll, but what is the other one for? Can you break that down? Because I was confused. I was like, wait a minute, hold on, it's two of them. Yeah.
Yes. So the first one, there's an economic injury disaster loan, and that's open. Uh, Basically, so there's an economic injury disaster loan and a paycheck protection program loan. Actually, most entrepreneurs actually qualify for both. Now, the economic injury disaster loan, that's more so, hey, you owned a business in 2019, and because of COVID, your business it was affected. You qualify for a loan up to $1,000 in an advance. So based on you telling your profits and your cost of goods sold, it would determine the amount that you qualify for. So there are a lot of people, maybe they got the 1,000, but they didn't qualify for anything further, or possibly, and based on your cost of goods sold and your profits, it showed that you qualify for more. Then with the Paycheck Protection Plan program, that's is geared towards those who have employees. But you think if you own a business, if you have you are an employee, you pay
Oh,
yourself
self.
payroll. You
Right.
pay yourself. So it's based on what you pay yourself as an employee. So with that, whatever your monthly payment is that time 2.5. That's what you will qualify for. And so let's say if your payroll, you paid yourself 10,000 a month, you'll qualify for $25,000. Once you get it with both of the loans, the EIDL and the PPP loan, you have 10 months before you start your first payment. Both of the loans, one is at a 1%, the other one, well, both are almost at 1%. If you use 60% of it to for payroll, you can possibly have it forgiven. There's a process you have to apply to have it forgiven. So that's why a lot of people they're calling it a grant. But it's a even if you have to pay it, it's a really, I mean, it'll probably be the only time that a lot of people are able to get a loan at an interest rate that low,
Right.
1%. And so you think 1%, you have 5 years to pay it off. You're almost paying $5 a month per $1,000 that you get as that loan. But the idea is to get the economy back rolling. America is based on small businesses. Small businesses actually create the most jobs in America. They create more jobs than larger companies. Now, of course, those were hardest hit because of Corona, especially because many small businesses are service businesses. They're businesses that deal with the public. So, we have those restrictions. So the idea is to get as much money into the economy to get it back going. And I'm sure there'll be more loan programs to come because the economy is hurting. We're officially in a recession.
Right.
Okay.
So, okay.
What would you suggest? I'm sorry. This is my last question. What would you, well, not my last question, but the other question I can ask later on. But what would you suggest if you are in direct sales and it's like a home-based business?
You qualify. You are a business. If you don't have a LLC or S corp, you qualify as a sole proprietor. Even if you're an independent contractor, so if like you're an Uber driver in a gig economy, you qualify.
Okay.
You qualify. So I say apply for the EIDL and apply for the PPP. The difference with the PPP, with the EIDL, you're going straight through the SBA. Now, if they decline you, that's it. With the PPP, if you had to go through specific lenders. Now, if you go through one lender and they decline you, they'll tell you the reason for that decline, and based on that reason, you have the opportunity to correct that and go to another lender who may approve you. And I've gotten a lot of clients approved based on using that strategy.
Okay. Do you need an EIN number?
I know you don't. You don't. Because if you're a sole proprietor, many sole proprietors or independent contractors use their Social Security for business, so you can
Okay.
do it through that.
So basically,
Okay.
if you got a 1099 from your direct sales company, you can use that.
Exactly.
Let me go to my email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So they look at the 1099 or the Schedule C.
Okay.
Because I have a friend that told me that when you apply for this SBA loan, you need an EIN number. You can go on the IRS website to get you one. I got people I got clients because she does my taxes. She has her own tax company. And I have clients that they got approved for a lot. So that's why I was asking. She was trying to get me to do it this weekend, and I was like, hold on. Because, loans, I'm like, I'm trying to get a house. I don't need no extra stuff. I already got this car. So I'm like, Lord Jesus.
So you can do it with your social,
Mhm.
but if I don't know if you tried it yet, but the
Mm-mm.
applying for an EIN number, it takes a few seconds, and
Yeah.
well, at least less than 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a quick
The other thing
process.
I wanted to ask you, like, we're talking about building business credit and versus building personal credit. It almost seems like it's easier to build business credit, or even it seems like it's faster though. How is that beneficial? Like those of us who work from home, like I work from home. I don't have an office. I ain't trying to have an office outside of my house. Is it beneficial for someone like me to go ahead and really focus on the business aspect of credit?
Yeah.
And I mean, not saying to, just totally abandon personal credit, but is it more beneficial to really work on that business credit?
I will say it's beneficial to work on both, and you are able to keep your home address. But what I would suggest is also creating, if you get a virtual address, not a
Okay.
post office box, but like if there's one of these centers, and I can't think of which ones. Like I'm in LA, so there are a whole lot of them, but they're like Regis. They're these places you can pay like maybe $30 a month, and basically it'll be your business address. And you put
Okay.
that
Mhm.
on all your
I think
stationery.
UPS has something like that. It's not necessarily a PO box,
Yeah.
but it's because
Like the UPS store?
I had a business customer for insurance who he used it, and I was like, that's the UPS store, but it was the address that he used for his business. So I think UPS does it. There's a place here called Going Postal. I think they may also do it as well. Yeah.
So I would actually advise going to somewhere like an independent mail service, like Going Postal or AIM Mail
Okay.
Center or one of those, because what it is the lenders, they will look your business up before they underwriting. They will look your business up,
Okay.
and of course if an address is at a UPS store, of course with UPS being a nationwide company, that will come up automatically. A place like Going Postal, it'll have maybe 1432 Union Avenue, Suite 23, something like that. They're not going to look too much.
Okay.
If you have to have certain things in place. You have to have a website. You have to have an email address to your business. Like if you're just, I make cookies at gmail.com. That can actually hurt you if you don't have a great credit score and a great business credit score.
Right.
Okay.
As it relates to getting larger lines of credit, they look real deep at the credibility of you as a business. And why will we give this person money if they're doing business out of their home? Now, of
Right.
course, if your business is generating a certain dollar amount monthly in revenue, they'll look, they'll say, okay, well, maybe this is a good choice. Maybe we will give this person, some money. But there are a number of factors that lenders look at, because a lot of the lenders, there'll be alternative lenders. It may not
Okay.
necessarily be the bank that you bank with, because their criteria may, like
Be not.
their criteria may be the equivalent of filling out, if you've ever filled out the loan paper for a mortgage,
Mm-hmm.
almost like a phone book. Whereas an alternative lender, they may have a 1 or 2 page application, just require you to have a sign that 1 or 2 page application, provide your ID, copy your social security number, your credit report, a voided check, and
You in
maybe
there.
10 days you get money deposited into your account.
Okay.
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 So
All
for
right. Let's
somebody
see.
doing something like we're doing, like we doing this podcast thing, we got things that we need. We working on some of those things because we working on the website and we're working on some other things. But anybody, because I'm seeing a lot of people, even here in Memphis, they have podcasts that are growing. They're getting more listeners. But I know it takes money to advertise and do all that stuff. Money that probably would have to normally pull out of our own pockets. So for what we're doing, will we still need to get like a virtual address and all this stuff if we were looking to establish a business line of credit for our podcast, for instance?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I would say do it. Make that investment. One thing, look at it as an investment. Don't look at it as you're spending this money. Look at it because when you're in business, your business expenses. Now, this isn't tax advice. I'm not a CPA or tax, so you go over it with your attorney. But it's a business expense. A virtual address, anything you invest for the business, so it's tax deductible.
Mm-hmm.
Tax deductible, and treat it as a business. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Macy's started off as a little cart. They were selling clothes on the street. Now it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation, but they started and they developed credibility along the way. So look at what you're doing as something that, hey, eventually you'll be interviewing stars. You'll be on red carpets. You'll be at White Houses and palaces.
Right.
Well, you got to think big. So you start that process. Build your business credit. Make sure that your personal credit is in place. Maybe at one point you'll go from a virtual office to a building that you own.
Yeah.
Look at I like that. But it starts. It's about those baby steps that you make along the way, not cutting corners, and taking your time. You don't have to rush it. Avoid people who make these wild promises of what they can do for you and give you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of money that you can get. Like I can get you a lot of money, but I try not to make that promise because it's based on certain criteria.
Right.
It's based on your personal credit or your business credit or both. Now, again, with the beauty of business having both in place is that if you have great personal credit and your business credit has been built properly, you can expands the amount of money that you qualify for.
Okay.
And on the business credit side, you usually get lower interest rates, really low interest rates. And, there's those, you get business credit cards. You get a business credit card with a limit of $20, $30, $40, $50,000 with 0% APR for up to 24 months. You can do a lot if you're if you have a business that's generating revenue.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, with anything, just like with personal debt, you don't want to go into debt just to go into debt. You want to make sure that you have a plan, that you're going to be diligent, that you keep great records. And that's where you want to, at that point, you're not trying to do your own taxes. That's where you really go to a professional who will be able to help you out. Also, look into there are grant programs that a lot of people are unaware of. There are grants for entrepreneurs. There are people who they told me there's no such thing as that, where there are grants.
Yes. If you go down to the SBA, that's what they tell you. There are no grants out there for businesses at all. I've heard that.
True.
Wait a minute,
Not true.
I was told it was some grants. I was like, nope.
What it is a lot of those grants are by private organizations. Now that could be the difference. Is by private organizations, but like especially like during COVID, you had like you're familiar with the natural hairline? It was Shea Moisture.
Yeah.
Shea Moisture. Well, he sold the company to one of the larger brands.
Mm-hmm.
But what he did with that revenue that he earned, he purchased Essence. He purchased back the Essence property, so it's back black owned. And whatever in that deal, he had where the purchaser of the brand had to put $100 million into a fund to support women-owned businesses, Black women-owned businesses.
Mm.
So then he also purchased one of Madam C.J. Walker's estates, and he's using the estate as a training facility for those women who qualify for the funds. They go there for training. They get the money, blah blah blah, but keeping it Black owned. But I know doing so they have the programs the regular programs for if you have a great business idea, how they'll fund you. But I know during COVID, they were giving grants to women-owned businesses, Black women-owned businesses. Then Bumble. There's a dating app called Bumble. The founder of Bumble and Serena Williams, they have a venture capital fund where they had a grant program. They were giving like $5,000 to Black women-owned businesses. So the thing is, they are out there.
We just got to search for them.
Yeah, and I have a list, and I'll send it to you. Share with your network.
Yeah.
Share it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot. So the thing is, it's as you hear it a lot, but there are grant programs, and the thing is, a lot of times, it's one of those. It's who you know.
Right.
Me, I want everybody that I know to, hey, there's
Absolutely.
money. Get it, apply for it. That's why I'm telling everybody, apply for the EIDL. You qualify. Even if you're a home-based business owner, if you're a ride share, a gig economy worker, you qualify for it. Then apply for the PPP, because even though it's for those who pay paychecks or pay payroll, as an entrepreneur, you pay yourself for your payroll.
Gotcha.
So you may qualify for it.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep. So go ahead, Heather. I'm sorry.
I got a couple of questions though,
Go ahead,
but I don't think I ain't gonna run them. I kind of like to, throw them in when we're talking about it. But okay, so we've been talking about like grants and everything. I just want to go back to like the wealth building portion of it. And one of the questions I had was, I don't know, y'all. Okay, I wrote these questions. Let me just preface this. I wrote questions at 4:00 this morning when I was not. I still have only gotten 3 hours of sleep. But anyway, so I'm just prefacing that. Can gentrification help people of color build wealth? Again.
4:00 in the morning. We got you. We here.
Okay.
So the way it can, if you own property in an area that for years, it was a low income area. You own this property. Maybe you were renting, and your tenants, you didn't have the best tenants. You couldn't really raise the rent. In that aspect, if a big developer comes in and they want to purchase, then yes, you come up that way. That's how it can help you build wealth. Now, what we can do is look at the value of property. Look at, who in our family owns property or who doesn't, and possibly say that, hey, we need to, we've grown up in this area all of our lives, or we've known this area all of our lives, and they're changing it. But we have an opportunity to come together as a family and purchase this home, if only, our grandmother, to make sure that it's a family home and we can keep it. And if we can possibly keep it in the family, then long term, that property may appreciate and can build wealth that way. So there are ways, but it has to be strategic. You can't just sit around and complain about what's going on, because things are happening fast.
Right.
I moved from Memphis to Los Angeles. There's almost nothing, very few homes or under $500,000.
Right.
And I'm talking about.
Woo, shotgun house, $1 million.
Okay, yeah. Where on both sides of the street, you may see something that's unfavorable. On one side, women, that really taught me the value of Memphis. When I mentioned to many individuals that I met how in Memphis, what you're like telling them how what you're paying for a 1-bedroom in the hood, how you can have a 3 or 2-bedroom house in Memphis with a nice yard, a front yard and backyard for that.
A swing, she said.
But many of them, they've been so used to this living cramped. It's like where we live at. I mean, it's kind of hard to invite people over because of parking. That's a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
Parking is a commodity. Well, we take that for granted.
Really?
That wherever we're going to go, that we'll be able to find somewhere to park. Well,
You and
well, the
your
thing
animal.
is, a lot of people from places like that, they see their value. So
Right.
they see if there's a house for $20,000 on the market in Memphis or 30,000, they're like, "Whoa, I can buy that,"
Right.
and
Which
that's
is
what
why
they're
we
doing.
have a lot of people that are coming in invested in real estate, because I'm talking about from everywhere. I insure
Yeah.
rental properties for people who are. We had some customers from overseas. I mean, they're seeing the value in the property and what they can do to flip those properties and either sell them or rent them out to renters. So yeah,
So many people who live here really don't see that value.
right,
So my thing
Yeah.
is showing how, like, hey, come together as a family. At least make sure that first you have a family house. At least there's one central location where it's for the family, and then possibly from there you can build to where it's ensure. Hey, let's work on you getting your house. Let's work on you getting your house, and so on and so on and so on. And that goes back to how we can build generational wealth. But it's looking at that big picture, looking at, hey, you pay this amount in rent, you pay this amount in rent, you pay this amount in rent. But what if we all moved in together?
Yeah.
What if this?
and
What
You
if
put
know,
yeah,
what if we had the person who had the best credit score to go through a first time home buyer program, where possibly they can get in that house uh, with down payment assistance and closing cost assistance. So basically, they're getting in that house with no money out of pocket.
right,
Well, what a lot of people don't know is the first time home buyer programs will actually cover up to a fourplex. So of course we know, of course, the idea of getting your dream home, but then there's a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex. Well,
right.
what if as a family, y'all purchase that? Y'all purchase, so at least y'all have that fourplex, and then from there you can work on, okay, so we're reducing the amount that we were paying in rent. Now we
Yeah.
making sure that the mortgage on this is taken care of. Okay, now it's your turn to go ahead and get your fourplex, and your turn, and so on and so on and so on, or your first home. It
right.
may not be that extensive, but just taking advantage of the programs that exist. So we don't have to floss. We don't have to have the try to impress anybody. The first thing is we need somewhere to stay. That's an
Absolutely.
essential. So let's invest in, let's own it.
I
Gotcha.
think that's the problem though. Like I don't think we've been taught that from the foundation that we need to, group together, our funds and then branch out later. And I see a lot of other people from different cultures who do that, like
Yeah, they've been
people
doing
always talk. Yeah, because people talk about this all the time. We were talking about when we used to live in this apartment, there was some Hispanic, I don't know what they're, I'm just going to
it.
assume
Hispanic.
they're Mexican. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to assume. I can't say if they were or not. But they moved in and they moved in with like 30 mattresses or something like that. And, you would see them come in with all these mattresses and you'd see a bunch of cars going in and out. But eventually, over the year or two that we were there, we were seeing that less and less of them were staying there
Yeah,
because they were putting their money together and they were, going
saving up.
into, buying up these cash properties, I'm guessing. And then like talking to them and they were saying that was exactly what they were doing was, they maybe move into a 3-bedroom apartment, but by the end of 3 to 5 years, everyone had
They
their
own.
own home. And I don't think that we just teach that from the beginning because a lot of times you hear folks like, I ain't gonna live with no family. We like we don't want to stay with nobody. So,
It's like
um,
it's a conversation that we need to start having, and at least there may not there of course there'll be pushback and there'll be frowns, but looking at statistics, what a lot of people are not aware of, that all wealth generated between 1863 and the year 2000, 50% of that was lost by the year 2008.
mm,
Now that's big. Now there are also studies which are saying that by the year 2053, that median black wealth would be zero. Now
mm,
median, that means that just on the average, and it's
right.
based on of course systemic racism and
Hmm.
redlining and things like that, but also combined with behavior and basically us not starting enough businesses and not investing enough. And that's
Right.
something that can be done in groups and as small groups. That maybe, I'm sure there's someone in your family, if you had that conversation, like, would you risk a certain level of comfort
Right.
for a year or so until we could get to this level to where we are financially free. And of course,
Yeah.
what's financially free for you, it depends on what do you see. You know, maybe your monthly expenses were, I'm just throwing out a number, but if your monthly expenses were $1,500 a month, and you're able to save and come together and maybe create a business where you're bringing in 2,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically, you're financially free
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
not you don't have to depend on a job, and
Right.
it's easier
Absolutely.
and it's easier when your expenses are covered to make you know decisions and take a few risks.
Right.
Hmm.
The thing is, but if a lot can change in 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, if you really have a plan and you commit yourself to learning, to saving, and then investing, and making sure that the biggest investment that we can make in our community that will yield the greatest results is investing in our kids. So take advantage of, I know that because of COVID, there's a lot of limitations that we have, but taking advantage of the space we have, if we just have them in a living room, teaching them some basics,
Right.
if whenever, when the library opened up, using those meeting rooms, just taking advantage. Um, with your library membership, you have access to audiobooks, free audiobooks.
Right.
Hmm.
With your library membership, you have access to free courses through lynda.com. Those courses, normally it'll be like $25 or more a month. Well, with your library card membership, it's free. Well, you can learn. My fiance, she taught herself how to code. She's teaching herself, like she's actually teaching herself a programming language right now on Lynda. But of
Hmm.
course, YouTube, instead of, hey, maybe you like looking at twerking puppies, but take an hour or so and commit to learning something on YouTube.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We can do that. Uh, I look at that. I was looking at the Shelby County Land Bank list. There are some lots in some areas where they're doing some development. They're starting off at $50.
Wow.
Those are those are lots. Basically, there was a home on that property. Maybe the neighbors or the city complained about it and they knocked that house down. Well,
Right.
that lot that house stood on is starting off at $50. There are houses on that list that start off at 1,000.
Right.
Commercial properties that start off at 4,000. But
Yeah.
of course, there are people who are coming in. They see the opportunity that many who live here don't see,
Yep.
and they're coming in. They're buying the block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're buying the
Yeah.
block.
And
But
we
it's
gotta
something
get we gotta get
that's
on that. So
Cause what they
here's
say,
my
they ain't
question.
gonna make no more land.
that's
So
it. You hit it on the nail.
here's my question, as far as that's concerned, with everything that's going on right now. I am for the protest. I'm not out there protesting with the people, but I'm for it. I support what they're doing. However, I don't think it's just enough to go hold up a sign and yell Black Lives Matter. I think we should take it further. I think economically, if pockets are hurt from the other side, they'll hear us. We're still going to support what's going on. I remember a few years back there was a complaint of racism at Gary's Market or something like
Remember
that.
that.
So they went out there and they were gonna protest or whatever. But I haven't heard anything more about it because you protested and you yelled and you screamed and you hollered about it. But now you sitting down and Dad, I am doing the podcast. Close the door. I'm sorry.
You
And
got people, I got cats,
boy, uh,
regular stuff.
the Arabian guy shot the young man in
Remember.
Memphis. They went and they protested and don't boycott this market, but everybody in the neighborhood still going to that. My kids get their hair cut in that same neighborhood. They still going to the market. People don't understand that it's gonna take money. It's and I'm sorry. I didn't watch the NFL football games when the whole situation was going on with Colin Kaepernick. I was the only one that wasn't, apparently, because all my colored friends that I know was like, that ain't gonna do nothing. I Money, economics, money. That's what hurts. That was a main problem with the civil rights when we had it. A lot of people don't know it was a black owned grocery store in the late 1800s called the People's Grocery Store right in South Memphis. Black people were going to their grocery store. They weren't going to the white grocery store across the street, and they lynched those men on the railroad track over here by the old
Mm.
city jail. They don't know that economy. That's what makes them they shaking in their boots when we take our money out of their system and out of their pockets. So what do you say to that? Because I think that's what it takes. It's gonna take money.
Yeah. So and start piggybacking on the People's Grocery Store story. Ida B. Wells wrote a book called the
Right.
Red. I think it was called the Red Record or something along those
Mm-hmm.
lines. And
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
basically, she documented that the majority of those individuals that were the men and women who were lynched, they were business owners and landowners.
Yeah.
And basically, these people wanted. I mean, they saw this competition. It was
Right.
competitive. So going back to the protests and whatnot, it was actually a protest that kind of inspired me and actually put me on a different trajectory.
Okay.
Uh, we were protesting the murder of Darius Stewart. We
Mm-hmm.
were going out every night, going to on Winchester at the church where he was murdered or whatnot. And a friend of mine, we were talking and we were like, well, we have to do something different. At the time, I was already active with community service.
Right.
We're trying to figure out how else can we help? What can we do? So we had a meeting, and from there, that's when I became involved with the organization where we were doing the weekly workshops for business owners, Black business owners.
Right.
Then out of that, we ended up doing getting with another organization where we started doing the financial literacy workshops. Then amongst friends, we started having cash mobs where we would get a group together and support a Black-owned business. Actually, today we supported one of the Black-owned businesses that we supported during the cash mob, Terrance Smith, who has the bistro. She's
Yeah.
now the BP on Riverdale and Rains. She's cooking in there, and we were there and so happy to support. We did a drive where we supported the Black Bank in Memphis, Citizens Bank. We had a group together
Right.
to open up accounts at the Black Bank account. I'm sorry, the Black Bank. At the time when it had Taylor's BP in South Memphis, we had a drive where we had people to encourage them to support, go and get your gas from this Black-owned gas station. Because at
Right.
the time, I think there were only 2 Black gas stations in the city. I'm like, we're over 70% of the population, but there are only 2 Black
Black
gas
owned.
stations. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like looking at, we do have power. The thing is, it's all in the mind. We have power in numbers and in our dollars. We have to be able to look at, all right, what's the long-term strategy? Because what do you want? If you're protesting now outside of someone's store, do you want them to treat you better, or do you want ownership of what's there? Of course, you
Right.
want to let them know, hey, we don't like what you're doing. The thing is, we have to get to the point to where as we come together and pool our monies to buy a store, buy those things that we need. If we know that we like sandwiches, and this place has some great sandwiches. We know somebody in our community that can do a great job. Let's get behind that person. Let's get to the point to where we can come together and say, all right, so and so, they'll need Sister Faith. She'll need $5,000. $5,000 that'll start her business. She started her business so we can support her business, so we can get things that we want. Of course, we'll create proper paperwork to assure
Right.
what happens after that money with
Right.
profits and whatnot. But how do we come together to support a business? Looking at it that this is a long-term project.
Right.
If we want to build so-called like Wall Street, we can't put in some money today and expect to have our money back next week. It's a
Right.
long-term project, a process. But it starts with those in our immediate circle, our friends, our family, and our friends,
Yeah.
and building outside of that, because there are others who feel the same, but it's not enough coming together to actually make efficient, effective change.
Gotcha.
So with you saying that, because I've been seeing this, I've been approached several times via inbox and text message. These people who are doing this saving circle. Now, let me just preface this with saying I have been part of several ventures. I believe in direct sales, MLMs. I believe in all that. I do not believe in pyramid schemes. And sometimes I get what they're doing, but overall, I don't feel like it's effective. So, what's your take on these savings groups like this?
Sure. So it's an effective, in theory, it's effective. In theory. Now, that's actually what other groups use. It's actually a West African. It started in West Africa, and
Mm,
most ethnic groups have a system like that. That's how many of them start businesses. But now it's not built on strangers and coming together. It's built on people that we have relationships with. So family and friends, those we trust, and building up a trust. So usually what happens in these, the first few people, it'll work out well for them. They get their money, but someone will will step in, that lack of integrity, and someone will take their money, and they'll take the money, and it won't flow like it's supposed to. And of course, out of
mm,
that, someone will get mad, and at that point, they were like, distrust will form.
right.
It is, it's an effective strategy, but it's in theory. You have to do that with people you have to do it with family and friends. Now, I know of a service where you can actually do it online with it's called e-money pool, and I've done it a few times just to test it out, and it works. Where it's almost the same concept, and it actually reports to your credit bureau.
Okay.
So again, it's something you could do with family and friends, but I wouldn't suggest doing that with strangers, just inviting some random people that you're friends with on Facebook. Now, of course, those random people on Facebook or whatnot can eventually become friends and close to family, because I've made those connections. But it's not something
Right.
you just, hey, give me $100 and you're gonna get $800 in 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a couple of those messages too, and I was like, somebody that I'm cool with, that I worked with previously, she sent me a random message and was like, because I think she's in the hair industry. She sent me a random message. If you give me $300, you can have $1,500. And I was like, no, ma'am, Pam, I'm not gonna do that, because I don't
Yeah,
know the
because
other
it
people in
sounds
the
a
group.
lot like when folks will, let me flip your money. So for me, I'm very skeptical about this because, and I guess the way I look at it is these are the same people when I brought opportunities with them to, with actual network marketing
Right.
companies where you can actually see what they've done and the payouts and everything and the way that they pay. They the same ones that would tell me, well,
It's
now I
very
don't believe in that stuff. And I'm like, but this is absolutely the same thing. And this isn't even guaranteed. So,
And, and what I would advise people to do is look at how they can use a network marketing company to really do that. How,
mhm,
again, but of course you have to start off with those you know and trust, but
mm,
right.
to understand, hey, if it only takes two people, how about I help you get your two, and then we help somebody else get their two, and so on and so on and
Hmm.
so on. But looking at it as a part of a long-term strategy. But
Yeah.
again, too many people are looking for that quick buck, and there are too many
yeah.
people that are, they're desperate, and maybe they
Hmm.
mean well, but when a bill is due, people, and some
Yeah.
people they may have the best intentions of, hey, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and take this money, and I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and I'm gonna do it, come back. But again, if you have
Hmm.
no real, you know, it's I don't know this person, and my integrity is thin, then I'm going to, mess over these people. And then
Yeah.
later down the road, more people will become distrustful. And when a legitimate opportunity, like you mentioned, it comes along, then they're not going to look at it. They're not going to see the opportunity because they've been, messed over in the past.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
And it's a shame. And that's
Yeah.
why there's so much poverty in our community. I mean, one
Yeah.
of the reasons. I'll say one. I'm not going to say that's the only, but there are a number of different factors. We have to be There's historical information that shows how banks have mistreated our community,
Right.
in these different
Now,
programs.
Wendy, you pause, girl.
yeah, because people are still talking. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Now, I'm going to revert back to the little kid. Well, actually, I have a teenage son, and my teenage son thinks mom stands for made of money.
They all.
Of
Yes.
course.
So what would you suggest as a single mom, how to get my son started on learning about finances?
So I have some books I can send to Faith and she can send to you guys. Some real
Okay.
good books. But get them in a mindset of teach, find out what it is, and maybe you already know what they're interested in, but letting them know, hey,
Video game.
realistically, well, let them know that they can that your child can invest in video game companies, can also take a course where he can learn how to create his own video games, and possibly, showing how the economic opportunities, how there are people who play video games for a living.
Yeah.
Not saying that that's what you, but at least earn extra money.
Yeah.
The value of a dollar. I was like that as well until I got my first job, and that's when I realized that, well, going to Marshalls and Steinmart really not that bad. And
Now,
still to this day, you know.
Yeah.
now would you? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, now would you suggest, like say for instance, because he's almost about to be 18. Well, he'd be 18 in about another 3.5 years. But going into the world with basically no credit, if I am establishing my credit, I'm having good payment history, have him on as an authorized person so his credit can be built.
Yes. Yes. So that's a great strategy to use. It gives them a head start, but also make sure you give them some financial literacy education along the way, or put them in, if there's some videos and books suggested, so that he knows that, all right, when I'm 18, I'll be on my own. Let's say I may step into the world with a 700 credit score. Now, the opportunities that are available to those who have those 700 credit scores, and showing how, yes, you go get a nice car and all your friends are impressed, but you'll be in debt when you drive off the lot, that car has lost value, or you could possibly start a business or buy a home. That this exists, that's an opportunity, that credit, even though all credit can be rebuilt, restored, or repaired,
I don't want to go through all
you don't
that.
want to, if you can avoid messing it up, that's what you want. That's the route you want to do. Teach him how he can become an investor, how he can invest in stock, he can invest in cryptocurrency, showing how in the future he could possibly invest in real estate. There's so many opportunities. There are opportunities where he can invest in startup businesses.
Okay.
So many opportunities, but they're showing them to think long term,
Right.
and how basically by having a long term vision, he may be able to get to a position to where he only has to work a short period for someone else for just a few years, because he learned some things, how he can leverage his credit and maybe that job that he has, or how while he's in college, how he can take advantage if that's the route he want to go, where he can have a business while in college.
Right.
Facebook was started by dudes
Nobody
in
else
college.
got-
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I tell you, I can give $50 today, and by 30 minutes, that $50 is gone.
And that's because they don't have that education. I was like that when I was in middle school and high school.
Like that as well.
Yeah, so it's that, but I mean, now that we recognize that, this is the different way to go, we have the tools we need to teach our kids otherwise, or to do something different.
I'm gonna tell you,
so that's the thing about it. But yeah.
it's a learning experience, and of course, like I grew up, my father, he was more so one of those, he'd get his check, he'd take out whatever he wanted and give the rest to my mom. But my mom was real frugal, and my grandmother, was real frugal. I mean, my grandmother was frugal to, if you got a styrofoam plate, she washed it and hey, have it. That she was that.
I have aunts like that.
Yeah. But the thing is, she always had money, and she always was able to take a trip. She was always able to take at least 2 vacations a year, one with the family and one with like her friends. And she always had a car. It wasn't a new car, but if her car broke down, she was able to basically purchase another one,
replace it,
because of being frugal. Again, it's something you start early. There are some great books, video games. There's a video game I play almost every day. It's based on the Rich Dad, Poor Dad series of books. It's called
Mhm.
Cash Flow. It's an online game. It's free on the site richdad.com. And basically, the basic premise of it is that you start off with a job, and it may be a low-paying profession or a high-paying profession, but it shows that you have a job and this is your income. And these are your set expenses. And the difference between it, you have the opportunity to buy what's assets or liabilities. A liability, that takes money out of your pocket. Assets, it puts money in your pocket,
Right.
per se. Well, you have opportunity to buy stock, invest in businesses, purchase real estate, and so on and so on. But the idea is that you're going to buy enough assets that provide a passive income to basically cover your expenses. As is what I mentioned earlier. Once that's done, you're on the fast track, because at that point, you're not as you're willing to take bigger chances. If you know that your expenses will be covered,
I'm recording.
it's nothing to take your extra money into invest in something that an investment that maybe in the past you may have been like, I don't want to waste my money. I would like to do that, but I don't know if it'll work. Well, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and buy a 18 wheeler. I invest in the 18 wheeler, and I can have somebody drive it, or I could buy some real estate, or I could buy some vending machines. Anything. There are people who buy Instagram accounts. Somebody may have a Instagram following 1 million followers, and all they're doing is they just did it because they were just playing around. Well, there are companies, there are people who actually buy those accounts, because those 1 million followers, those are eyes that they could sell like advertising to for advertising.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that people do. People do that with Facebook accounts, even on YouTube channels. Well, there are so many different opportunities in there. The economy that is changing. The retail model is fading out. Maybe some of these, a lot of these stores, like I can't even think of any on it, like Sears. Sears is going out the way of the dodo bird, but that building is there. Think about what could be there. Possibly you may be able to purchase that building. And what would you put in that building? That's something that can generate interest from the community, and keep the building in place. But it's basically good habits, and starting those habits early. At 15, if I could go back at 15 with what I know now,
Right.
but showing that at 18, that basically letting them know that at the age of 18, he's gonna make some bad choices.
Yeah.
But let's give him a foundation and let him know you have the opportunity to make some good ones.
Right.
It's going to happen. You're going to make those bad choices, but just follow a system, a program. Just be like, you want to save money. You want to only use credit as an investment.
Right.
Buy used, look at, hey, you can buy a used car and still have a nice car. You don't have to, learn to buy on sale. But look at like, hey, you either going to work for the rest of your life and struggle, or you're going to make some smart decisions where you'll have a kind of smooth life. It may not be the smoothest, but it'll be much smoother than
better than having to go through the struggle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to just add though, like, because we're talking about all that, and I got 2 graduates. Yay, 2 college graduates.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And one of the things that we talked about when they first started talking about colleges, especially my oldest one, he wanted to go to all these specialty colleges. And I was like, I think those are great ideas. But and that was the thing. I didn't want him to feel like I didn't support him, but my whole thing was looking in the long run. I'm looking at how here I am 42 and I still got student loans from when I was 18.
Yes.
And so I didn't want that for my kids. I was like, how about this? How about we look at the state schools first? Then also let's look at the ones that are offering you full scholarships. And we're talking about, and when I told him full scholarship, he was like, yeah, full scholarship. I said, but also out of state fees, because, you don't want to start out being a young person and already 40, 50, $100,000 in debt, and you ain't bought nobody's house. And so, like, those are things that we kind of argue back and forth about. But now, like I got him, he has minimal amount of student debt. And then the other son, my 18-year-old, has no debt because everything was covered through scholarships and grants.
Right.
So,
That's great.
just letting them know, like, you already so many steps ahead of me because you don't have this debt looming over your head. And like the most that you owe is maybe, can you buy some pizza for the family? you know,
Right. Right.
like that's the only thing that we asking you for, like, because I'm looking at, how we've had to, really struggle to kind of get to a place where we can do that. Like, and, like I tell folks now, I have friends who have kids, my kids' age and everything. They're like, they got to get out. And I'm like, yeah, no, I think we're just going to get a bigger house because, if they could offset some rent and just, just get out of my face for at least 3-4 hours, we'll be fine. And so, and that's why I'm thinking this is such a good topic, because I want to change the next generation on how we look at debt and wealth, and like you said, just being minorly inconvenienced for a long-term better life. To me, I think is, it'd be best. And like I said, they're adults, yes they are, but if that just means that you can just hold off trying to have your own place for a minute until you can get some money in the bank and really think about before you try to move out and have all these expenses, then I feel like I've kind of help the next generation a little bit more, than with myself. So I don't know.
I'll tell you.
I'm sorry. What I was thinking about doing is when my son gets at the age where he has a job, I was going to tell him, okay, pay me $20 rent, pay this towards the telephone, and, do like regular bills. However, the money that he gives me, set up an account for him. So when he gets ready to go out, he has something.
Yes.
To the side.
That,
It was two
that's a great idea.
two incredible stories. One Jamie Foxx tells and another one that Kevin Hart tells. Jamie Foxx grandmother, he used to think his grandmother was so mean. And he had a little job, and every time he, got some money, his grandmama would make him give her a part of his check, or half his check, or whatever it was. And so he was mad. She always taking my money. He going through all this stuff. And he had a little cash car at the time that he would go back and forth. It might have been a family car or whatever. That car broke down, and I think he was getting ready to turn 18 or something like that. He said his grandmother bought him another car cash. And then not only did she buy that car cash for him, she also gave him a receipt to an account. She'd been putting money back for him for all these years since he had been working and stuff. He thought she was just taking his money. He played the piano. That's what it was. He played piano at church, and he had started playing at a young age. And every time he got paid, she would make him give half of the money. That's what it was. And like, we don't have that. We don't have that at all. Where we are doing that, even if they have a job, hey, you need to put something back. You need to save this. You need to put this up. She had an account set aside for this baby and put it, and he had money. I mean, he said, I got ready to move to Hollywood. I had some money,
He didn't have to start out broke.
Right.
And that's something that it should be a, across the board in all of our families. It should be something that we should implement. Teach the value of saving. Teach the value of saving, because saving long term, it yields great results.
Yeah.
I was sharing on Facebook about the 52-week savings plan. For those who are not familiar with it, you save $1.
Is that like the week 1 week, week one $1, week two $2?
Yeah.
Okay.
The last week 52. Well, in a year, you've saved $1,378. Well, for some people that's not a lot, but it's like, for those who don't have $1,000 in the bank and they've had a problem with saving, you've established that habit of discipline.
Yeah.
Well, one of my friends who implemented that plan, he was just doing it. He had it where his bank would take it out. When it was time for him to get his first apartment, he had that money to help him get his apartment. So he was able to see how that worked. And he applied that same strategy he maintained it, and he was able to add an additional amount when he could. Well, then he started investing in stocks and things like that. And he was able to really, a few years later, tell me how that really changed his life. Well, it's about the habits, about teaching early on
Right.
If you make $10, save two, maybe save three. If you could save five,
Yeah.
because you don't have a lot of expenses. To where if it's a habit, when you get to that point where you're making 50,000 or more, and if you're that frugal and you're saving half, you're able to do some things that most of your friends will not be able to do.
Right.
Right.
And then you can purchase, we hear about cash cars, but you can purchase a cash house. And just know
Yeah.
that you don't have to have the best house, but first of all, you want to own something.
Yeah.
And from
Right.
that starter home that you own, then you possibly get to the point to where you can have your dream home. But it's a process. You
Right.
don't rush it.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing, and I just wanted to add, because you were just saying, saving back and everything. I think that is, not to get super religious, but it's funny because I think that's one of the things that tithing teach.
Yeah.
Like how to not live off of all 100% of your income. You actually return 10%.
Yeah.
And now you have the 90 to live off of, and then additionally you can put up another 10% and live off of the 80%, and it could, last you. You can learn how to live below those means
You're
by
right.
tithing.
It's something else in teaching our youth to take advantage of while they're in college. I'm sorry, in high school. Take advantage of those programs where they can earn college credit while in high school. Taking advantage of those programs that allow them to learn a trade while in high school. Whereas let's say if they do want to go to college, let's say they graduate with their diploma and a certificate for that trade.
Yeah.
Well, while they're at college, they don't have to work a work study job or a minimum wage paying job if that trade can earn them $15 or more. Well, they're in a much better position than their peers.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's thinking of those ways. How can I save money? College could be one of the most expensive expenses that we can have.
Right.
And it can follow us for a long time if we take out the wrong loans. Teach them about those programs where if you take a certain major,
Right.
how that loan could be forgiven.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Teaching
it's a
one
process.
of them. Yeah.
Take advantage of all the scholarship programs that are available. Make sure you get with these fraternities. A lot of them have scholarships. Find out how, if you do community service and you have good, you may not have the best GPA, but if you have a decent GPA and you have community service and some other activities, how you can get a free ride.
Right.
Take advantage
Zeta
of it.
Phi Beta this weekend. Let me just Zeta Phi Beta. We actually gave away one $100,000 scholarship to a high school senior this weekend for our centennial year. So that young lady does not have to worry about college. $100,000
$1,000
for college.
Lord God.
So she doesn't have to worry about that. So that means if she's getting other, she could get other third-party scholarships and everything, and that money can go in
her pocket.
bank.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I love that.
I was so proud of us as a sorority to be able to do that because, just thinking about alleviating that child of all the pressures. And she can go where she wants.
The child, the parents.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
yeah. Well, I'm thinking about the child because, I told my kids I ain't taking out no loans for school.
Right. Absolutely.
So
ain't got it. My name is.
So I had to take that, so it was a thing of, just thinking about just think about the whole family is set because now, the parents don't have to think about, how we're going to get this child to school, whatever school. Right. And then if she play her cards right, I would choose a state school and not have to pay out of state fees and,
extra money
and keep that money. Yeah. Then you got to worry about books. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And the way that COVID acting, you're going to be at home anyway. So you might as well go online.
Do the classes online.
But take advantage of those opportunities. And something I didn't mention, I'm quite sure, Faith, you discussed this on our shows before about insurance, the importance of having insurance and the proper insurance that can basically a parent can borrow against or that child can borrow against to go to college or use to purchase a home and basically as that stepping stone to build wealth. I've heard financial teachers teach that they look at certain insurance policies as buying your net worth. Yeah. Maybe you're not a millionaire, but you can buy $1 million worth of insurance, and then, how that.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and with that, you got you have certain insurance companies that teach you can buy term and invest the difference. So you have those situations where you can put money back. So as time goes on, you can decrease as your expenses decrease. Like for instance, you a young couple, you bought a home, you got, you know, your kids or whatever. Your kids is 30, 40 years old and your house is about paid off. You don't need a $500,000 plan anymore. So whatever the difference is of that, you still need some insurance, but decrease that amount over time and then invest that difference. And then you also have whole life insurance where I normally encourage parents when you got a baby, go on and get that whole life insurance started right then and there, because that's gonna, as time goes on, it's going to add up. It's going to increase the whole life plans. You those are invest kind of like small investment accounts. That's what it is. They're putting their money, the money that you're putting into that policy, they're investing them in low risk accounts, and it increases in value. So some are at a 3.5% rate, some are at 4, some at 5, 6, or 7%, as high as 7% interest rate. That is tagging on to that. So you got cash value, you have dividends, and then you have your death benefit. So and a lot of people with whole life, I have a customer, he takes 2 trips every year. I know this year is probably killing him to be at home right now. Older guy, he's had this whole life policy for forever. He's like 80 some years old. 2 trips a year. He goes overseas, he takes a cruise somewhere. He does it twice a year. And he doesn't have to pay any money out of his pocket. He just takes it out of his whole life, because at this point we at the end of life. So let me go on and get my money out of my policy now. He don't have to. He calls my agent. Hey, I need a check for this amount because I'm finna go on this cruise. Okay, we'll have it ready for you. That's
He
the
has
type.
outlived his policy.
He has outlived his literally, because
Wow.
that's all he got to do is just go get the dividends out that policy and go out of town. I mean, I said, man, when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
I wouldn't be like that.
So it's those things, and I encourage parents to start their kids out as much as you can afford to get for your child, because they also have short-term whole life policies that you can pay on for a short period of time, and they're paid out for life, and you don't have to worry about those either. So that's another thing that's out there that you have. So if you get one on a baby before health problems and all this other stuff occurs, if your baby wasn't born with any disabilities or anything like that, and you can go get a policy. And I mean, you know, some babies can start off with probably about $90 a month for a $250,000 policy that's whole life, that's going to compound in interest over time. I would jump on that. You know what I'm saying? That's something, because if it is a matter of my kid want to go to their dream school versus and we about $5,000-$6,000 short versus they got to go to a state school and I can pull it out of this policy, I would rather have that in play. Or they getting ready to get married, they want to buy a house. So here's the down payment right here. You got this right here over here. It's like your own personal savings account. So yeah. I tell people all the time, go ahead and jump on that opportunity now, because if you don't, you're gonna be, well, I don't know where the money. You have the opportunity, you know. So
I have a question, Faith.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about like families coming together and ensuring that, like, let's say the person in the family that may have some bad habits, that we make sure we have insurance on that person,
Mm-hmm.
and then make sure that like the oldest people in the family, that we have good policies on them to ensure that, hey, when they transition, first of all, they have a decent transition, their expenses are taken care of, but also there's something to pass down to leave for the family, for the kids or whatever in the family.
We have that all the time. I have customers, they get life insurance policies on their parents. I normally tell people it's always wise to try to do it as young as possible, because as we get older, we have health issues that kick in. It one of us, preferably neither of us on this particular forum, but 9 times out of 10, once you hit that 50 threshold and above, you're gonna have high blood pressure, you're gonna diabetes, early onset diabetes, some type of health issue that makes it harder for you, or it'll be higher for you to get a life policy. But yes, I have families do that all the time. The only thing that, for the company that I work for, the only thing that we require is that that person is present, because we don't want to have those situations where we done killed the
Y'all
person
want to
for
be
the insurance money.
Walmart.
Right. I don't need to see no Lifetime movie about it, about about you on insurance. So that's a requirement for the company that I work for. But there are so many life insurance companies out there that that's not the requirement. All you need is a social security number, and their date of birth and their name and whatever, and you can get the life policy on them. A person that has a bad habit, I have siblings that say, wait a minute, my brother ain't got no life insurance. And he smoking, he drinking, he doing this, he doing that. So we try to find a plan that they'll be able to work, so that at least if something happens, they'll be able to at least bury.
And not have to come up with a GoFundMe or
and
everybody
selling
cash
pigs.
app. And
I'm sick of seeing that. And the thing that really bothers me about that is, if you are young enough, I think I had a parent, he's concerned about his child. He was concerned about him. He said, he out here in these streets, I got to get a life policy. Only reason I couldn't do it because our company says if you got a probation or something, you can't do that. But if you got, it's some life insurance companies out there, or if you know your nephew, cousin, uncle, whatever out there in the streets and they ain't never been caught up in no stuff, they ain't been shot or haven't been to jail, but you know the life,
but it's coming.
it's not commensurate with living long. Yes,
yeah.
by all means, get a life policy, get them in there. Well, it might be hard now. Tell them we finna go take a drive.
Yeah,
I need you
and
to
we do that.
the line and keep it pushing.
Yeah, because that happened with my nephew. I had, lost my nephew about 4 years ago now.
Right.
And we were the same age.
Yeah.
And the thing was, there was a big argument on, are we burying him or are we cremating him? Well, it's cheaper to cremate.
It is.
And so everybody was, oh, I don't want him cremated. I want him buried. I'm like, y'all ain't got no money though. Let's just
and another thing is, if that person has children, this is the thing that burns a hole in my behind. You got 5-10 kids spread all out the country, but you have no life insurance on yourself at all. Period. Now, you might not be paying child support in real life, but at least leave some behind for your kids if something happens.
Right.
To me, that's selfish. You want children to be better than what you are, so you need to be able to have some type of plan set in place to leave behind. Somebody has to take care of your kids if you're gone. Period. Women and men, if you're a mama, I can't afford it, especially depending on what age you are. If you go to McDonald's, you go to Wendy's, you go to Burger King, you go out to eat. I'm seeing this Black Memphis Eats group that we that I'm like, Lord Jesus, I'm gonna get fat all over again. I'm trying to lose weight. But if you can afford to go out to eat and support these Black-owned restaurants, you can afford to get a life insurance plan. Period. If you have to take care of anybody, if you have to take care of a parent and something happens to you and your parent is still here after you're gone, you need to have somebody gonna have to pay some money to take care of your mom or dad. Like, these are things that I think about. I'm not necessarily think about death when you're thinking about insurance, but you have to think about those things that could possibly happen in the event that you're not here.
Right.
It's a responsibility that you have. So those are just some things. And children and parents, everybody needs a life plan. Period. Everybody.
I know, Faith. I remember when you was talking about that, the legacy, and you was talking about the car insurance, how they have the part of the insurance that if you get into a car crash and it's totaled out, but you may still owe some more money. Girl, the very next day, I called Progressive and asked for that loan to lease clause.
Yeah. And all companies don't have it. I used to sell cars, so when I sold cars, I always told my customers, I don't know if I want gap insurance. No, ma'am, you want gap coverage, because the insurance company is only going to take care of the market value of your vehicle, regardless of the limits that you have in insurance. But you want to make sure that you also get higher limits in insurance, because if you hit somebody, if I'm driving a Hugo and I hit a Mercedes and I got 25, 50, 15, which are the limits of liability here in the state of Tennessee, And $15,000, that $15,000 part is for property damage. A Mercedes ain't going for cheaper than $50,000. I'm sorry, they just not. So if my Hugo hits a Mercedes and I only have $15,000 to cover their property damage, guess what they can do? They can come sue me. If their insurance company comes after, pays for the rest of their loss, guess what the insurance company is about to do? They're about to come after you for the rest of their loss, which means they can garnish your check, which you're not protecting your legacy. You're just not. So it does not make sense for anybody in the state of any state. Minimum limits are off limits. I do not care who you are. Do not have minimum limits because you are putting yourself at risk. Period. Period. Yep.
That's terrible. I'm just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I gotta go get some more insurance.
But I would say that's the foundation of outside of the education.
Right.
That's the foundation of a generational wealth plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the easiest ways that you can build generational wealth.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Of course, you have to have that education because you don't want somebody to get a $100,000 check from their grandmother and they go.
Right. And this is, let me also say this, and we're gonna have somebody that is gonna kind of delve into credit a little bit further with us later on, probably sometime next month. But she's also gonna talk about wills. Please get a will. Please get a will. I'm seeing people fighting over stuff. They fighting over money. They fighting over who finna get this and who about to get that. I got a friend right now.
Robe.
Huh?
They be fighting over a shipper robe.
When I say literally, they're fighting over because the people that were older than them did not get a will. And I don't know if maybe they weren't taught to put things. My kids they're going to be fine. It's just going to be divided amongst the kids. No, it's not. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be divided by the kids. The kids are going to be fighting. Some auntie from Timbuktu is going to pop out of the woodworks trying to get a little piece of the action. These are things that people need to realize and think about. Or you don't tell your kids where your life insurance policy is. You could have been paying on life insurance policy and they don't know where the policy is, so they can't cash in on it to bury you or to do what needs to be done. These are things that you need to have in place. Get a fireproof safe, get that will put up, get the insurance policies put up, put everything in a safe place, and tell somebody where that is. And make sure you tell more than one person where it is, even if you have to get an executor, an attorney, an outside source or something. That way, nobody has a problem. When my will says this and this is what it says, I don't care what I'm a contest this in court or probate. I don't care who you are. You ain't gonna be able to do it. It's a will. It's a legal document. You can't fight it.
I know when my dad passed, we was so hoping that my mom kept the will that my mom and dad had, because my stepmother was saying my dad didn't have a will, but he was a businessman. So if he had a will with my mama, what makes you think he didn't revise his will? Okay, so come to find out, she's back in Maryland. She had refinanced my dad's house, took the money and left it. Just took the money and left it because she didn't want to sell the house, because I think he made arrangements with the bank that if she sells the house, that we supposed to get some of the profit as well.
Wow.
And she didn't want to do that. So she just went ahead and got a second mortgage and then just abandoned the house.
And you have situations like that all the time. And that's why you have to have a will. There's no way, shape or form, things are gonna work out. You think this person's gonna handle everything. They're not. They're gonna make sure this person gets this. They're not. On your life insurance policies, make sure that your beneficiaries are updated. So you know what goes to where. If you had a parent that was on there that's no longer here, or if you had your kids were younger, you had a particular adult on there in the event something happens to you, make sure you update that. As things change, you can always go and update your beneficiaries. That way it's no question about who what, because the insurance company is not gonna fight in court about this person, this is what this person did, and they have to come in and they have to sign it saying, hey, this is who I want as a beneficiary
Mm-hmm.
on my policy as of now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, or you gonna be like them folk on Greenleaf. They trying to figure out who got the house right now.
Right. Right.
Listen.
Right. Right. So those things, and it's important. I mean, I'm always gonna preach that. I'm not donating especially if I know you and you get a GoFundMe page, so you know I sell insurance and you don't have a life insurance policy in place. I'm not donating to your I mean no harm, but I'm not donating to your GoFundMe page, because it's not about me putting money in my pockets. It's about me putting money in your pockets. It's about me making sure that you are financially equipped in the event something happens. That's my whole thing. I tell all my friends, if you don't have a life insurance policy and you need to have it outside of work, we are not gonna work for our companies forever. We're not.
Right.
You
Right.
are not going to be employed for 20. A lot of people change jobs just as much as I change my jobs. I'm just keeping it real.
And that's true.
You don't have a life insurance plan if you change jobs that much. They may offer you a plan through the benefits, but that company owns that policy. You're not the owner of that insurance policy, period. The company's paying for it. Either they're paying for it in full or they're paying a great percentage of it on a group plan, which means you are not the owner of their policy. The company is. So whatever strings that or whatever hoops you have to jump through, or your family has to jump through in order to get those benefits, to make sure your debt is paid with the funeral home or whatever that situation is, you have to jump through those hoops. So why not have an outside plan? It could be a small plan, it could be a supplemental plan, but why not have an outside plan to say, hey, this is what I want. This will take care of my funeral expenses. This will take care of this, and then I can wait until that whatever comes from the work check, so I have it. Because a lot of people, I got it at work, I'm fine. No, you're not. And when you retire, here's the thing with that. That's a group plan. So on a group plan for life insurance, it's term insurance, which means when you leave the company, COBRA benefits with health insurance. The only way you could keep that life policy, unless they offer something to you with the retirement plan, and even with those retirement plans, when they offer those life insurance policies, they can be quite expensive. You're going to have to, in order to keep it, you're going to have to convert it into a whole life plan, which is good. However, if you got 10 times your salary in the life plan and you getting a whole life, and this is strictly your age is what's determining the price of this policy, you don't have $200-300 a month to pay for a whole life plan that you converted from work. So these are things that I tell people you have to think about. You have to have a good, clear, concise picture of what you're doing and how you're doing it and how you're moving. So I didn't mean to get on here and preach, but
no, but this is good information. And
yeah.
But it all ties in too, because again, this is how we are so far behind the curve, because they're just fundamental things we don't know as a collective, and these are things that we don't talk about. These are things that we don't have people in our communities educating us on the front end, so that on the back end we don't have to have these conversations. If somebody was able to talk to all of us, say even 5 years ago, about how we can improve our lives right now, that would have been that much more beneficial. So just think about, when we're talking about wealth and everything, people who are wealthy talk about these things all the time, because there's nothing for them to fear and there's nothing for them to hide. So, it's necessary for us to know these things so that we can also educate the next, generation. And so that it could be a normal conversation that they're used to having, instead of it being like, we don't talk about that kind of stuff around here. Just have a conversation. Nobody asks you how much you're making, but we need to actually talk about how you're spending or how you're investing the money that you're earning. So it's all important.
And I had the idea probably about a few years ago to get a team of people together to do financial literacy classes. I know they're doing it in some churches, and I still want to do it. I don't want to stop with that. I definitely still want to do it, because it's important to teach and to educate. It's so many people that have had insurance for years that don't know, I don't have enough insurance. I don't have enough insurance. If you have a business, you do not need a minimum policy. You don't. That's not something you need if you got a business, because if something happens, that you're at a bigger liability because they can sue you and own your business. These are
Yeah.
things that people don't realize and think about. So those are things that I eventually I do definitely want to do and get that together so I can do my part
Mhm.
Okay, you done
because
froze.
She
houses.
gonna come
I
back.
want to make sure they know.
Yeah.
I want to make sure you know what you have. You know what's available, what's out there, what we need to do to work towards getting you to where you need to be, so that you won't be out here without.
Yeah. And like I had to learn that, like had to make sure I had insurance that extended to my kids' dorm room.
Right.
I had to make sure I had insurance that extended to the storage,
Yeah.
and things like that. And those are things that we don't just really even think about,
Right.
until until something happens. And then they're like, oh, well, did you have insurance? Well, I didn't know I was supposed to carry insurance
Yeah.
for that. But,
Girl,
those are just those minor things that, we don't really, again, we don't discuss, we don't think about it because no one's bringing it up. No
Right.
one's talking about it.
Right.
So it's definitely necessary. It's like when we bought this house, we had to I didn't know that there were more than one homeowner's policy, and what could it care, what does it cover? One of them was, oh, we just cover the stuff in the house. And then,
Yeah.
oh, well, this one actually, we got to rebuild the house. And I'm like, what? I thought all that was the same. I didn't know there were different policies for
So
those things.
let me touch on that real quick. Homeowners policies. When you get the homeowners policies through the mortgage company, that does not protect your home. Period.
it protects them, right?
People don't realize that, oh, I got it through my
Mhm.
homeowner. No, you ain't got you really don't have a real policy because you need to look at the replacement cost of your house, not the appraisal cost, but what is going to take to replace your home if they have to build it from the ground up. That's making sure you have enough insurance. I have this conversation with customers almost every day. Well, why is my replacement cost on my house this much and my house is just worth? No, that's not what your house is worth. That's what they appraise your house at. Appraisal and replacement costs are two totally different things.
Right.
So what you want to make sure is that you have enough coverage to rebuild your house. Because if your house burns to the ground, you need to make sure you have enough coverage to replace it. There are a lot of insurance companies out there that give minimal coverage. They do not give you. They look at that appraisal cost, or you tell them, well, I only think my house worth $50,000. So and so when your house burned down to the ground and you don't have enough to rebuild your home, then you looking like, well, I don't understand. I had to come out of pocket. A lot of people are mad when they have to come out of pocket for certain things because the insurance agent did not educate them on what they needed. If you get it through the mortgage company, again, just to protect their mortgage. So you got a $300,000 mortgage. It's really mortgage insurance. It's not homeowners insurance. That's really what it is. And there's a difference between the two. The mortgage insurance protects you, and you have different policies out there that can protect you in the event that you become sick or disabled and can't cover your mortgage. So those are like credit disability policies, those types of policies that are out there, or mortgage insurance policies. And that's because the mortgage company can offer that, they offer that mortgage insurance to pay off the mortgage if something happens in that event, or if something happens to the house. But it will not replace your home, or will replace at very minimal amount to replace or rebuild the house. So a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. And
So
then also,
Terrance,
and then the things in your house, right?
California, make sure y'all got a $1.5 million house. You need to make sure you can replace it. That's what, look at that. Look into that. So that's the thing. Yeah.
But let me also add that, because another thing was, the amount of items that you have in your house, because I know we had to go back and redo it for all the electronics and things that we just added. The other thing was, when we went to get the house, the mortgage company actually started rejecting. We had to start going around to different companies because there was a certain amount they said that you should pay in insurance.
Yep.
So like the person that we had been going through for years, we couldn't go through them because they said they're charging too much, even though what they were showing was how much it would cost to replace the house, how much it would cost, the total insurance. But in order to get the loan to go through, we had to go through another company where the insurance was, much cheaper, but it didn't cover everything that you just said. So once we had the mortgage for a minute, then we were able to switch back over to our old.
And
you
you
know,
can
company,
change
but
it within a year. So if that
yeah.
happens, because you have certain credit caps. So depending
Mm-hmm.
on where your credit is, and that ties back into credit. So depending on where your credit is at the time when you are getting ready to get your home, will determine how much you're gonna be able to get. The mortgage company pays your insurance and your taxes, so they give you a certain amount, and based off of where your credit is, they give you how much of an amount you can get for the home and what it's going to take to do the insurance and the taxes. So they give you a cap amount to where you have to get it to. Some insurance companies can work with you and get that amount down, some cannot. So
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of is what it is. So in that event, I mean, like I said, that credit part ties into it, but you can, for
Right.
a year, you can just keep that plan or whatever that policy is for a
Mm-hmm.
year, and then come back year after that and come back to a company where you'll be able to, get what you need out of that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we did. We got enough to just get that mortgage pushed through, and then it was like, we
Yep. Yep.
don't burn the house down, kids. Okay.
Right. Right. Be careful. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Hold your breath for a year. So
Well, ladies, do you guys have anything else for Mr. Wilson?
the only thing I did want to ask Mr. Wilson was, what was the name? Could you give me again the name of those virtual address places that you were calling
Oh,
out?
sure. Regis, Regus.
Okay.
WeWork, WeWork.
Okay.
I know there's AIM Mail Center, so AIM Mail Center. That's another one. There's a bunch of them. So what you basically look for private mailboxes.
Okay.
So only the post office can use PO box.
Yeah.
So you don't want to use a PO box because of course
Okay.
that's going to come up as PO box. And then the UPS store, because UPS is such a large company,
Yeah.
that'll automatically come up. But you want to give it go with one of these private companies because it'll give the impression that your business, instead of your business being at PO Box 333 blah blah blah,
Mm-hmm.
the address would be 139 Union Ave Suite 223.
Right.
The 223, that's your mailbox number, but they don't know
But
that.
you can use a suite number. Okay, got it.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
We about to build some wealth around here.
Right. We should.
That's right.
I'm
And look,
for it.
I'm in town till July 13th. I'm gonna send some information to Faith, and I'll try to do a workshop. We have a lot going on, but I'll be having some meetups and workshops before leaving, so I'll make sure that you ladies get it, and
Yeah.
hopefully we get to meet each other.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Terrance. How can they reach you?
Sure. So my website is thefundingclinic.com, thefundingclinic.com. My email, info@thefundingclinic. I'm also on Facebook. I have a group on Facebook. The Money Tribe is hashtag Money Tribe, MONEYTRIBE. In that group, I share a lot of ebooks, free courses, apps, and basically information, because the goal is to, even though my business, so I have my community aspect, and that's sharing information like this about wealth building. Then the next part is through my business. But I want to be able to help families and friends form investment groups so that we can build generational wealth. We can purchase the homes in our neighborhoods, our communities. We can make sure that we give our elders and our families great send-offs, we can have them, to live comfortable lives and take care of our children. When you were mentioning about what the wealthy do, I want to be able to, when we get together and we say, hey, Faith, Wendy, Heather, hey, look, get the family together. We're going to Jamaica. We're going to Costa. But this is going to be a business trip. We're going to go there. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time. But we're going to get together and we're basically going to discuss wealth building. We're going to discuss what are the new laws of how we can make money and save money. How can we set something up for our children? How can we set up something for our grandparents who are still living, our parents who are still living? But basically, and it's tax deductible, because we're going to have somebody there who's a CPA, instead of somebody just telling you, hey, you can deduct this. No, we'll have somebody who can actually take a look at your actual situation and say, okay, This is how you can write this off.
Right.
This is how you can write this off. Well, we can get together in comfortable environments, and it becomes comfortable and it becomes a habit for us to talk about wealth, but not wealth in the sense of I'm flossing or I'm trying to embarrass somebody.
Right.
But no,
Right.
how can we do better? How can we live a comfortable level of existence while helping others and being a good example for our families?
Absolutely.
I'm excited about that.
I am too. I can't wait, Jamaica. Yes.
Yeah, I just went on and joined the Money Tribe.
Yes. Make sure you
thank
join the Money Tribe. Very, 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 very good information out there as well. I know earlier you mentioned, and then we're gonna get off here. But earlier I know you mentioned making sure your kids find something that they are enjoying, that they love to do. My son, who is officially graduating tomorrow from
Congratulations.
I did a graduation for him myself on the day that he was actually supposed to graduate, which was May the 18th. So I went and decorated the building my mom owns, and we had a whole little graduation ceremony for him. But we're actually doing a little drive-through thing for them tomorrow at his school. So he loved computers at a very, very young age. So when he was in the 7th grade, I got him involved. And somebody told me about this program called Code Crew, which I actually ironically have a t-shirt on today. But he told me they were telling me about this program called Code Crew. So as a result of him participating in Code Crew, he has a scholarship for school through another organization called BDPA, which is a Black data process. I don't know. It's a big Black tech group in the country that he got for school. He also has built an app while in there that is on Google Play right now. It's called Advert U. And he's also in the process of working on a video game right now. So he's taking this coding thing and he loves it. I mean, he really, really loves it. If anybody loves coding, my child does. So he's taking the opportunity from doing that, and he's had the support of Code Crew along the way. They've given him computers. He got one computer that I'm on right now. Another one he got from Code Crew. They had donated the first computer to him, and he was using it. He was coding. He was doing this little thing, and then he got an upgrade. So, they've been very, very supportive in everything that he's done. He's had an internship at St. Jude for the last couple of years. Where he's working on some technology for them. I don't even know what they did. I don't this time. Or the first year I knew what they did. This time around was supposed to be secretive. They never told me what they did. But he's been doing that and he loves it. He absolutely loves coding. And so that's something that he loves to do. So I do encourage parents, anything that your kids love to do, make sure that you are pouring into them. Find out what type of programs, find out whatever you can about what that is, find out where they can go, get them a mentor, get them involved in something. And I don't think a lot of times parents listen to what the kids like and what they want to do. They don't do that, and they're not pouring into those opportunities for the kids. So make sure you're doing something. It doesn't necessarily have to be Code Crew, which was founded by Black people, by the way, FYI. Put that out there right now. Right. But also making sure that you are whatever your kids are doing. I got another friend, her daughter was making masks. She knows how to sew, so she was making masks and selling masks, and I think she still is. She made sure she got hooked up with somebody who helped her hone in on her skills. Do that for your kids. Whatever it is that they're doing, make sure that you are involved and making sure that they're doing what they need to do to get to the
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love hearing stories like that.
Yep. So,
yeah.
I want to be in a position to show individuals how we can get together to invest in your son's projects.
Right.
I mean, because we didn't get the opportunity to invest in Google at the beginning. We didn't get the opportunity to invest in Facebook at the beginning.
Right.
Because what it is those opportunities are set aside for individuals called accredited investors.
Right.
Well, accredited investors, that's individuals who have $1 million net worth, or they earn $200,000 to $250,000 a year. well, accredited investors, they were able to invest in Uber and Lyft at like $5 a share.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I remember
Now,
that.
when Lyft opened up, it was at $68 a share.
Mm-hmm.
So think about that: $5 a share, $68 a share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were able to purchase wholesale.
Yeah.
So the way that we get to that position is by investing in each other, starting businesses, and investing into each other's business. I don't want to go over. I know
Yeah.
we.
It's
but,
okay. It's
We
fine.
here. We here now. I'm about to pop open a cigar in about 2 seconds. So just go ahead.
but that's something that we can do, and
Yeah.
we add in the other pieces like the insurance and
Mhm.
so on, to where it's all of us have dreams and all of us have visions, or we know someone with it, and let's say we get behind it. If they say there's not enough black-owned restaurants in Memphis, well, I mean there are a lot of,
It's
but
plenty, baby. It's plenty.
yeah,
Right.
but
I
possibly we
would
can
like
get.
to see more vegan restaurants in Memphis. That would be
Well,
nice.
they have some. They're popping up, and they do have some. Cause somebody,
They starting. Yeah, but I'd like to see more. We could be a little bit more progressive in
I
Memphis
got you. I
on
got
the
So let me tell
vegan.
you, living in LA, I
Hmm.
um
plenty out there.
every neighborhood, like regardless of how hood it is supposed to be, you get fresh squeezed juice, you get some vegan. Late at night, it's not like here. The excuse is if it's late at night, you have to have fried food. Nah, you can get vegetables and steamed rice and grilled meat up until
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning.
See, and that's all I want in my life. And then I'd be happy and I'd be quiet.
What you say? Give me my
That's why I like going to
vegetables.
Nashville so much, because you can find a vegan restaurant anywhere in
Yeah.
Nashville.
Yeah.
You know, it's just wonderful. But Memphis is like, what's wrong with you? What, you don't like meat?
We're gonna throw some fat on it. We're gonna throw some extra fat on it.
We cook
Right.
it in meat.
Awful.
Man.
Awful. Awful.
But,
Awful.
but
But
ladies,
yeah, I
it's been
think
a
that's awesome.
pleasure. It's
Yes.
an
Thank you.
absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed this. And I
Yes.
look forward to meeting you all in person. Like again, I said, I'm here till July
Absolutely.
13th. I'm gonna make sure I send that information to Faith that I
Yes.
mentioned.
Okay.
We're gonna
And
share
and
with our listeners.
and join the Money Tribe group. We're gonna do more lives. In Faith, we're gonna have you on the talk. I'll have to do a live with you to talk about insurance today,
Yes.
because
Yes. Yes.
that's
Yes.
very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
And
And
we'll definitely share this video to the group.
Yes,
thank
we
you,
will.
thank you.
Soon as we get it, I gotta get my little tech person on it. But as soon as he gets it up and running, we definitely will share it to the group. Yeah.
But I really enjoyed this. Wendy, Heather, Faith, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you
And
for coming
Absolutely.
hey, thank you. Hey, number three's a charm, huh?
on. Thank you so much for being with us today. Wendy, how can they find you?
Of course, on Facebook, Wendy Edinburgh Smith. Instagram, VLux76. That's VEELUX 76. And my Mary Kay website is www.marykay.com/WEDINGBOURGH.
Okay. Heather, how can they find you?
Any platform, I'm Heather's Passion Academy.
Gotcha. And you guys can find us here at the Size Up on Facebook, the Size Up 2102 on Instagram. You can email us at the Size Up 2102 at gmail.com. You also can listen to us on any platform. Well, not any, because we're working on Apple, but you can listen to us at Google Podcasts, at Anchor, Spotify, Spreaker. Oh Lord, I know all of them by heart. SoundCloud. We're on 7 different platforms across the board, so you guys should be able to get on the app, download, listen, and you can hear us. And we're also on YouTube at the Size Up, so make sure you are following us on all those platforms. Thank you guys again for joining us for another episode. We will see you again next week. Bye.
Hey, bye. Hey, I enjoyed it.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Okay.